nothing new in the news. That's misinformation. And then Twitter. Mm, nope, nothing there. So it's all yours. Whatever you want to talk about, or whatever you want me to talk about. I did have. I was talking to the AI this morning, which I do sometimes when I have certain topics on my mind and nobody else around. Um, this idea of good faith, acting in good faith, or engaging in an argument in good faith. And of course, if you have good faith, you have bad faith. Hang on. I really hope I'm not coming down with anything. Moose, I hope I didn't catch your cold, whatever you had. Um, and not only like are you discussing in good faith, but it came up actually. I was watching a video and they were talking about memes, like Trump makes memes about Kamala, and Kamala makes memes about Trump, and they referred to one of the memes as not being in good faith, or no, Project 2025. Like people don't read it in good faith. So I wanted to explore that, but I may have to postpone all of that because we have a guest. So I could always get back to that. Everyone, welcome the very own, the one, the only, the many. We don't know what he is. Mr. Machine. Mr. Machine Lies.
Greetings.
Good morning. Or I guess it's about what, noon there?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm happy to explore the topic.
Oh, good faith, bad faith?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean I can tell you what the AI says. Good faith is you have an honest, sincere intent. Open, transparent communication. You share information truthfully and completely. A respect for others. Bad faith is dishonesty and deception. Unfair dealing, taking advantage of others or acting unfairly. Lack of transparency, hiding information, acting deceptively, etc. I feel like you pretty much acted. I take you in good faith. I don't think I've had any issues there.
yeah. I think it's interesting when they asked the Andrew Wilson fellow because the ortho bros use this a lot. They say something's
Oh,
bad faith, then an argument's bad faith, right? So they asked him what it is, and he said there it's. He said it's not. It's a normative term. It has no definition. It's just like saying that the person's not really. It's just another way of saying that the person's being disingenuous.
yeah.
And then he said that basically it's an idea where um, the person's hiding their true position. So you're arguing as if you're arguing a position that you don't actually hold, and then or that it's been shown to, or that you've basically admitted in your previous statements that you don't actually hold the position that you're arguing for. And then
But then you continue to
yeah,
argue from it.
yeah, yeah.
And then it's also something about intent. Like, are you in the conversation with the intention to understand other positions and communicate your own position, etc., or are you in it for to like manipulate somebody else into thinking what you want them to think? Like you already have your mind made up and you're there for different purposes than just the exchange of ideas. It's something like that too. Like the reason you're doing something.
Yeah,
Are you
like
there for the
trying
right
to.
reasons and are you being open and forthcoming? Are you adding everything to the conversation that it needs to be helpful to everybody?
Yeah, and then like trying to identify if it's a troll or a LARP or something like that because many people they have no intention of trying to have a conversation. So that's also a thing where
Right.
they're just simply taking you for a ride. and
Sometimes for content, I think in the Panoverse, good faith takes the form of is this real or is it content? Is it production?
right, yeah, exactly.
And I never know. Honestly, I that's so far beyond my skill level to determine. because it's so new to me. In real life, I mean, I guess you could have that a little bit, but not to the extent that you see it in the panel verse.
It's also got to
Hey,
do with
Nova.
the steel man and the straw man. Can you successfully, repeat the opponent's position at all? Do you even know what you're arguing against? Are you just making up some position, some fake position that the other guy has, and then arguing against that? And then, you know what I mean? So I think that's sort of disingenuous right there. That's the beginning of disingenuous
Like
natures of
not
you don't
being
even
able to
know.
do
Yeah,
that if you
yeah,
can't. And then there's star manning too. Angel Eduardo has the concept of star manning, and I think that's where you try to not only stillman your argument, but do it in a way that assumes the best possible intent and help make their argument for them in an even better way than they were even trying to make it, assuming that their intent was positive the whole time. It's like a layer beyond stillman. But all of this is basic. Like I learned this in, I don't know, junior high, high school, just basic discussion, like good discussion practices. When you're reading, like discussing a book together or discussing ideas together, if you want to get the most out of a discussion, these are the best ways to approach the discussion.
yeah. That's why it's good if people are working on the same problem and they understand the disagreements beforehand. So that they there's not like, oh yeah, well, I'm trying to solve a totally different problem a totally different way. People are just like, like they don't even understand what they're talking about.
Yeah, I think that's true too. In fact, in light of the conversations we've been having on here about intellectual humility and epistemic humility and how we sometimes don't know what we don't know and we don't know that we don't know it. So our knowledge is faulty, like we're talking out of a position of ignorance, but we don't know that we are.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that there's a false humility that comes with virtue signaling too. Where people are disingenuous in terms of they'll start virtue signaling and try to make it seem like, the other person is being disingenuous. You know what I mean? So there's also like this whole thing where, there's a false humility in conversation where people will, like that Mike guy does it a lot, where he'll just like he'll just be like, he'll like ingratiate himself to whoever he's talking to. I mean,
Yeah, people do that. He seems harmless enough as far as channel content goes, but yeah, people. I guess. What? Hey, Venus. Good morning. When I'm talking with someone, like when you and I are talking right now, or talk to people on the panel, I can more or less tell, I think, who's in good faith and who's here to troll or play to their audience or make content or stuff. And every now and then, if I get it wrong, it doesn't really hurt too much. But I don't know if it's so much the discussions themselves, because I can tell by how people have a discussion where they are in that area. It's everything around that, the the social context, the channel, the panel, who has audiences, who knows who. Like, because sometimes like certain people will start all showing up at a stream at the same time or watching a channel at the same time. And there's like sometimes there's patterns to that. So are they all playing to each other? Is there like a motive beyond just a discussion? And I don't know. I'm so trusting. I take everybody at their word until I realize, like sometimes I get in conversations here and then I'll realize that they're trying to do something different with the conversation that I am. They're trying to manipulate me or teach me something
yeah,
or
like
adjust me to
that's one
some
of
social norm, but they're pretending to do it through having a conversation.
yeah, like that's one of the things I successfully do on my show, is that I make the conversation so intense that the barrier of entry is so high, such a high bar, that the trolls are immediately identified. So because it's like, oh, so you know nothing about deep ecology. Like it's over for you. Like
They
you've been
you just let them
exposed.
sit there.
Yeah, like you've been exposed within 5 seconds. So like it's like you just entered a conversation just to like basically you know for Boulder Dash and right and
Well,
yeah.
I saw you. It looks like you have a stream coming up today.
Yeah, that's the topic today is going to be deep ecology. So
Oh, okay. Here, let me drop that link. That's gonna be. It says 7 hours on my end. So here's Machine's stream later.
yeah, I noticed Pill Eater has I'm not Gaia theory, but deep ecology in his description too. So I'm hoping he'll come by and give us some of his reflections too, because he's got deep ecologist in his description, and it's a very very interesting theory.
I thought I followed him, but I don't see that showing up. Let me check. Yeah, I don't know why it's not showing up on my list. Oh, is it? Oh, in his description, you mean? Not an upcoming stream. Yeah, I see. Um, yeah, invite him on. He wrote some articles that Neurojack wants us to discuss too. Cool. Hey, Ricardo. How are you? Just hanging out with TML, having my coffee, talking about talking about good faith, like taking people in good faith and doing things in good faith, and how to figure out when people are not doing it. And deep ecology. Do you want to say a little bit about that?
Well, it's definitely an interesting idea. It's about organizing society around nature and studying nature so that we could exemplify our technology and all those things to match up with nature, so we could have more sort of I guess like a natural sort of efficiency, so working with nature instead of creating a parallel systems to natural systems and then using those.
Are there places in the world right now that are currently doing deep ecology type things? Like, what would some examples be? Hey, Hank.
Well, a good example would be one that I'm going to give today is about the old growth forest. So they have the old growth forest, right? And obviously the old growth forest is responsible for lots of biodiversity in the world, right? So you have tons of natural species and stuff, and they contain chemicals and medicines and stuff that we don't even know. We've lost so many that we're not even aware of what we've lost, really. So really, what it is it's about studying the old growth forest and seeing the natural patterns there. Now, one of the ideas that came from Aldo Leopold was about the wolf population, in the mountain. So they have the mountain and you have wolves and you have old growth forest around the mountains, right? And basically, if you hunt too many wolves, right, um, it causes an overpopulation of deer, and those deer eat up all the small brush, right? So there's no small brush. So if there's a forest fire, it'll just burn through the whole forest, and the trees are, I mean, like the little trees, excuse me, are so fucking thin, you know, thin trees. So really, what you have is you have these thin trees that really just get burned down by the first forest fire. So if you have an old growth forest, you know, um, the trees are strong. Actually, the forest will burn itself down, a few times, and then the soil and the trees will store the genetic information, and they'll create stronger trees in its place. And this is how the forest keeps going. So there's a natural cycle to how the forest, preserves itself. It wipes out the small brush by having these forest fires, and there's a set population of deers and wolves to make that happen. So there's all of these, and you look at farming of deer. The farming of deer led to the chronic waste disease, right? Where you got these deer eating the waste right from the deer farms, and they develop chronic waste disease. And if you look at these deer that are bred by humans, they look very weird. Like their antlers are all fucked up.
I didn't
I
even they
mean,
had deer farms.
yeah, they have deer farms, and the deers are they're starting to grow diseases because of the way they dispose of the waste there. The deers were eating deers essentially, so they developed something similar to mad cow disease, where they got prions in them. And essentially these prions, if you get one of these in your brain, it's not a good
Yeah.
it's not a good deal. But it's that old myth where people go crazy from eating crows and stuff.
So, like, you had this deep forest system. I mean, this old growth system, and it worked and sustained itself until humans came along and started to interfere with different elements of it, like hunting wolves.
Oh yeah.
I know here in Washington State, that was in the news the last few years. They had some wolves up in the mountains, and I think there's some old growth forest issues going on here too. And they like overhunted them or something, and or needed to overhunt them. But there was something about having to either kill wolves or replace wolves recently up here.
Yeah, there's a video I showed where they released like six wolves into one area, and they changed the entire ecology of the area. Where it's
Wow.
like any minute change, because it's a holistic system, right? So any
Yeah.
minute change can set off complex arena of effects. Whereas just like so this is called complex dynamic systems. If you study like a natural system or an economy or something like that, the way it works is actually through chaos math. You can't predict the changes within
Yeah.
large scale systems. So this is the same thing with human society. Human society is like that, right? So in order to look at the changes in human society, look at the changes in nature, you're dealing with two complex dynamic systems merging with each other, right?
And then
And
even within
yeah,
human society, you have many complex ecosystems within the larger ecosystem.
right.
I remember when I was doing my work in the homeless system, they did this presentation. This guy came in to talk about working with the homeless, and he said how homelessness and street life and people in extreme poverty, inner city, they have an entire ecosystem that they've built up. To us, it looks like just homeless people hanging out on the street, but he named all the different groups and types of people that depend on this part of that system and that part. And it was this whole, it was a structure of organizations, groups, individuals, subcultures that all somehow were interdependent with this homeless kind of street life culture. And that if you change one part of it, it could throw off this whole human ecosystem. And I remember that from my homeless work. It was fascinating. He made it seem like an entire world. It was just an entire like little nation of its own with all these complex players and parts. And to us, it just looks like homelessness. And I guess the like the rich people, the elites, if have their little world that they live in that is its own ecosystem.
Yeah, one day I had a teacher. It was like one of my first philosophy teachers, and it was actually the reason why I started studying philosophy. This guy looked at this student, and he was complaining about what he's teaching. And he said, and the kid says, what's beautiful? He said, I decide what beauty is. Like I don't care. Like beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? Right. And the philosophy teacher points at him, and he goes, a dung beetle is more beautiful than you. And he goes, and the kid gets mad, and he goes, a dung beetle is nothing. I'll squash a dung beetle. And then the philosophy teacher says, he goes, a dung beetle knows what its true purpose is. It knows what it's designed for. And then he points to the kid. He says, what is a you designed for? You know, and the kid didn't know.
Did the kid make it through the class? Did he stick around?
I don't think he did. He's one of those. It was community college, and it was a brown kid. So I think he just dropped out. Yeah, I don't think brown kids are really that interested in philosophy.
I don't. I
That's
know.
usually
I
like
know. I don't
yeah,
think most white kids are either.
yeah, it's like a white girl thing.
You
It's like
think? When I was
like
growing, it was like
liberal
a
arts.
nerd thing. Um, it was the geeks and nerds that read books that were into it. In fact, I don't remember any women. I started the philosophy club at my college, and I don't think we had a single female member in it. But some of the people like that I've had the best philosophical conversations with have been women. Hours and hours of philosophy.
Really? Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't had no success there. I've never had a philosophical conversation with a woman.
Oh, yeah. I had.
Yeah.
They were gifted women. They were like I knew them from the gifted community, so that might make a difference. But they were very well read. They were college educated. So what else is going on today? So back to this deep ecology, is the idea to like study natural ecologies and become aware of how like the human ecologies that we live in and start learning from nature to optimize our own.
Yeah, let me look at Arnie Ness here, because Arnie Ness is one of the premier founders of this like theory, or like, way of thought, and this person, actually defines it in a very interesting way. Let me see if I could look up this work by Arnie Ness.
Norwegian philosopher who coined
Yeah,
the
Arnie
term
Ness,
deep
a
ecology.
Norwegian. Yeah, that's right. A Norwegian philosopher. They came up with a lot of this stuff. And yeah,
Recommendations for public debate. Ooh, I'm interested in this. And Dolbez, if you're out there and you know anything about this Arnie Ness guy, please come up and join in.
oh,
Dolbez
is
is
he
from
is he from
Norway.
that area, isn't he?
Yeah, he's from Norway,
Oh, okay.
and he's very well read, so he may be familiar with him. Let's see. Avoid tendentious references to side issues like personal attacks, claims about motivation. I do this all the time. I tell people you don't know why they're doing it. How do you know why they do it? I constantly challenge when people are making claims about someone's motivation or irrelevant explanations or arguments. Are you listening, audience, viewers, panelists, particular? Irrelevant explanations or arguments. I'm gonna start. I might turn these into my rules that I post at the door. Avoid tendentious renderings of other people's views. Yes. Avoid tendentious ambiguity. And tendentious means you have designs on the person. You have an agenda. You're trying to lead them to a specific place, and you're manipulating the conversation to get there. Avoid argument from alleged implication, first-hand reports, use of context. Okay, I'm gonna go over these on a stream one day. These are good. This is his communication and argument, and it's six recommendations for objective public debate. This is wonderful, TML. So this is the same guy that did the deep ecology, that coined the deep ecology concept.
Yeah, they have lots of interesting resources. They're deep thinkers, and they want to, correspond with nature and humanity. So,
Yeah.
they have all
That is
these tools.
ding ding ding. You just hit the big problem right there. They want to correspond with nature and humanity. And I don't know if you can do it all with one tool. I think science, philosophy, all of that is good at helping correspond to nature. But I think when you apply it to whatever we're calling humanity and try to align it with that as well, that's a different type of nature.
Well, you need tools that people can have the ability to wrestle with those deeper questions, with ultimate questions. So if they don't have that, then others are going to come in and fill those places in.
Hmm.
Cults and psychologists, right? Those types of people, right? Uh,
Like philosophy, just
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
basic philosophical
Yeah,
tools.
philosophical or theological problems, that people can actually wrestle with and find that other people wrestle with them so
Yeah,
that they don't see quick and easy solutions to those, problems from like cults and religious organizations, psychologists, and those types of people that seek to take advantage of them.
yeah.
But yeah,
Tonic, I would say yeah because it took me a year and a half, and I have like almost 400 something videos in the process to get here. So, and it took an effort from probably I don't know, probably over 100 people were involved. So I would definitely say I was here every day, 7 days a week, sometimes more than once. It was more work than I've ever put into any full-time job. So I would say absolutely I earned the monetization. Thank you for asking.
no, it's not been a bloom recently. It's been a pretty steady growth here.
What's a bloom?
I don't know. Tonic said that you got a bloom,
Oh, is
but
that like when just like a certain sudden burst of numbers?
yeah, I remember when you had 100, then 300, and now 500. So it's been like it's been over like a 8 month period or so
Yeah.
that has been slowly growing. So,
Yeah, and it's
but yeah,
organic. I went out of my way. I said I wanted it to be organic. To I wanted to know the people as it grew. I didn't want just a mass influx of random numbers, and I didn't want bought numbers either. So
yeah, I went and privated my video yesterday. I did a music stream and then I privated it, and they took 100 views off my last video. I don't understand how that's possible. But like I
the
had
one that you
800.
privated, the music one,
That one. No, they didn't take it off that. They just took it off the one, like a video I already had posted. Like I
like
had
some
800
random
and
video, they just docked you a
yeah,
hundred.
yeah. Like my last video, I had 840 views, and I have 740 just because I privated. I guess it's because I privated that last video. I don't understand how that goes
Does
down. But yeah,
anybody know you? Can anybody, Hank or anybody can? Why does YouTube do this? Because there's things that they do that they don't spell out in their policies.
I think it's because of my last video. Well, what if I had to guess? I think it's because my last video had under 700 views. They just wanted to adjust it to make it look like it's as many people as watched my last video. That's what it looks like to me. Is like they just want to like they go and adjust the views based on what your other views say, so that it could
And
just
this is
match
like
up.
automatic. It's just a
I think it's
an
automatic.
algorithm or a
Yeah,
bot.
yeah,
Let's see. They do it to make you work hard. You talking about YouTube? Like YouTube deliberately fucks with our numbers to make us keep producing content. I don't know. Thankfully, I don't look at the numbers, so I think that helps me keep my sanity around some of this.
yeah. I mean, I only do 2 shows a week, so it's impossible not to see the numbers. But it's like you know, definitely something weird going on with them. Yeah, this dude's obsessed with Mike Cerrone.
Yeah, I think he's
Cerrone.
trolling.
Yeah,
I
he's
think.
obsessed with. Get a life, buddy. Like, get a real life. But yeah,
But Mike did help. I gotta say, I got a little bump from his audience or his whatever you call him, his entourage. Um, so
yeah, I don't
yeah,
know him.
that
Yeah,
indisputably helped.
he brought people, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says 8-point platform of deep ecology. One, human and non-human life have intrinsic value.
Not non-human, like animal plant life. Yeah, I think all life has value. I think life is a miraculous thing.
Two, diversity of life has value. I think you would agree with that one.
Yeah.
Three,
My thing is, if
reduced
nature
diversity.
created it, I'm not nature, so if it exists, it exists for a reason. It's not for me
Right.
to determine. I just deal with the reality that this thing exists. But why it exists, or judging it for existing, that's just not something I do because I didn't create the thing. So I, that's not judgments I can make that I'm in a position to make. So I think everything that exists has value because it exists, because nature or the universe or whatever brought it into being, and for that reason alone, it has value. Whether I approve of it or think it should be something that is in being currently or not, it still has value. Something greater than me brought it into being. So,
And then three, reduce diversity only for vital human needs.
re- um, yeah, like be cautious and prudent in how we
Yeah, that there's
work with.
differences out there. We should be careful of not getting rid of the differences in nature because it's like, oh, like we don't actually know what we're getting rid of unless it's for a vital human need. So this is just it's a little extension of a precautionary principle towards how we behave in nature, right?
Because isn't that's like the Indians used to do?
Oh yeah, yeah,
They would use all the part of the animal. They would only kill if it was necessary. They
right.
respected it, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Well, it's expecting that of modern Western industrialized capitalistic consumeristic man.
Well, maybe not so much, but say like, hey, if we follow this general precept, would our industrial technological lives be better or worse? Right.
And I think we try to. I think the intent is out there when we're developing or something. I think we do try to minimize somewhat. I think we try to do it in more or less intelligent ways. I do know that when I went back home to Louisiana, they had alligators and coyotes running all over the city because of the development that was displacing the animals that lived in the forest and the wilderness, and they were all uh, coming into the cities now because that's where it's like little natural areas within the cities, and they're tearing down trees to put in subdivisions, and then these animals are coming out and roaming all over the city. They have coyotes snatching people's cats off the porch and eating them. Like that's not supposed to happen in a city.
Damn.
They have alligators walking across the golf course. They had a video a few years ago of this giant alligator like try to cross the interstate. So there's stuff like that, and I think when people develop, they try to minimize and make sure they're doing it in the least harmful way. But then also, again, from Louisiana, I see what the oil companies come in and do, and I see how we're losing our coastlines um, through coastal erosion and stuff like that. So even though if they are doing it intelligently, it's still having an impact. It's still having an effect.
Yeah, this fourth one is going to be very unpopular. It says flourishing nature requires reduction in human population. I think most people are going to see
There,
that as
yeah, that
Nazi.
you're right. That is.
Yeah,
I don't think humans are going to put themselves above below nature or put nature above themselves.
yeah, yeah. But I think
Has that happened in history where humans have reduced themselves?
well, I just think I think there's something to be said in terms of just the population density in the city and just how that could be seen as unnatural and maybe just if there wasn't a city, there wouldn't be able to have such huge population growths. So I think the problem, or if it is a problem, I think it just naturally solves itself by the way we choose to live. But then again, I heard that in a city there's lesser birth rate, or something like that, because it's like people are more, people that live in a city and tend to have the values of a city or all that type of stuff, they tend to naturally reduce their population.
Like country families have the big kids. I mean,
Yeah.
like 8 kids, and city people have the 2.5 kids.
Yeah, so it's an interesting exchange with the cities and the the farms and the families. I think there's something to be said for all that.
It's almost different civilizational levels. The agrarian versus the urban. It's a different scale, a whole different set of social values that you need to coexist.
Yeah, but this sounds pretty Malthusian. You just reduced population,
Well, I thought it
Thursday
was
nature.
reducing though. I thought there was like a birth rate issue in the West.
Yeah, I think that's the ortho bro argument. Is that
Yeah, yeah,
we're
yeah.
gonna be
Andrew,
outbred.
yeah.
We're gonna be
I,
outbred, which seems like quasi white replacement theory, but
oh,
I
is
think
that so? Is it just white people or Westerners that are not?
well,
Is it just certain?
I think for the orthos they mean Christians specifically because I've heard it said that they don't have a problem with Mexicans coming here, only Muslims because some of the Mexicans will still be Christian.
So it's not about birth rates. It's a mask for like having their religious number. I heard Islam is the fastest growing religion.
Yeah, it
That
could
it's on
be.
track to outpace Christianity and all the other
Yeah,
ones.
but I think it might not be by conversion. It might just be because, again, brown people are having more kids.
So if they see a bunch of brown people with kids, they just mark them as Muslim because they come from Muslim. So are you saying that there is implicit racism after all?
Who knows? Who knows? It all depends on what somebody means by Christian. If somebody conflates Christianity with quote unquote Western, then that's a whole different set
Yeah,
of
that's true.
set of
That's
principles, and that's a point I make in my book too. That Christianity is quote unquote Western, and that changes everything. Uh,
it. It is Western, but it it's not the totality of Western. Like there's Western is larger, and Christianity's a very significant and important subset
that's
of Western.
the problem though, because Western should be European, but it's not. It also includes Greek and all those people who
Mediterranean,
are
yeah,
yeah
yeah.
who don't necessarily conflate themselves with Europeans,
But
because
then also it
Europeans
was contrasted with Eastern, and so the Mediterranean and the European have more alike when you contrast them against the East than not. So I think that's why it gets lumped as West. But then
yeah,
within
that's
the
why
West, you
Pilliter
have like
goes
Mediterranean, European, etc.
Eurasian because that confuses everybody. Confuses the shit out of everybody because
I
there
grew up
is
knowing it as like I think it's the ancient Near East, the Mediterranean, the ancient Near East, and then Europe. Axis. I don't know what you're talking about. I, as far as I know, we're fine. Last time we were on here, we had a good conversation. That's the last time I talked to you. So I haven't watched. If you're seeing stuff on other panels, there's all kind of drama going around, but I'm not. I hardly watch any of that. So if you heard somebody else say something, I'll just ignore it. I'm glad you're coming to me. Wow, you have coyote. You have coyote season. So here's another example from Fatty of how the humans are affecting the ecosystem by feeding the turkeys. Hey, Browns.
yeah, I've seen wild turkeys around here too.
Yeah, what Daniel says. Because what Western Civ for me in my courses, it started with like Assyria, Babylonia, Ur, and then it drifted over into the ancient Near East, eventually Greek, what like Crete, Mycenae, Greece, all that, and then from there it we eventually ended up in Europe and then America, and it was all presented as Western civilization. In fact, that was the name of the course, Western Civ.
Yeah, I think I could just read the rest of the four of these really quickly because
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
kind of the same. It says human interference is excessive and worsening. Social, political, and
Wait,
economic
wait, wait. Say
policies
that one
must
again.
change.
Human interference is
Human interference is excessive and worsening.
excessive and worse. Okay.
Then it says social, political, economic policies must change. Life quality over standard of living. And then 8 is the last one. It says knowledge implies a duty to act.
Um, I have a problem with that one, but the one before that.
Life quality over standard of
Yeah.
living.
What is
Interesting.
that? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I guess life quality would include all life, right? And then so standard of living is just like something that is an economic issue, right? So it's extending the sort of standard of living to all life, right?
It also
Seems like
sounds like it you kind of have to move beyond the capitalistic way of viewing things
definitely.
to
Yeah,
get there.
definitely. Yeah, that's a huge problem. Yeah, that's a huge problem because today what we have is not really capitalism, it's more corporate socialism,
Yeah, it's a
right? So that's a little
mixed economy.
yeah, so that's a little different, so I think just for most people, some people actually argued that a more ecologically safer way to do things would be to go back to capitalist ways of thinking.
Actual
Like
capitalism.
yeah, like libertarianism. Because essentially, that's promotes a sort of green anarchy. More than the corporate state model, right? Because the corporate state model is responsible for these international corporations that aren't subservient to national interests, and they usually grape the resources of countries, right? As a result, right? Because they're not really subservient to any nation state, right? They're just subservient to their profit.
But aren't they subject to the laws of the nations they operate in?
Sometimes, sometimes they can create um, ways that because there's corporations whose GDP is much more than countries make.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So the
And
power and influence they could have over those countries would be huge. Like for example, Pfizer getting the countries to sign the um, you know, they got the countries to sign a form, before they accepted the jabbies. Right? So that's interesting. That a corporation could get the country to sign like a
but
agreement.
don't countries contract with corporations all the time?
Yeah,
Like
and
government
they would say,
contracting?
but the question would be, is that better for humans and better for life on this earth or not? Right?
Yeah, I mean that's a conversation. I was
Yeah,
just more looking at how things were right now.
Oh yeah.
And then the other thing about knowledge necessarily carrying a moral burden. Socrates is the one that said it is not possible to know the good and not do the good. That if you know it, you will naturally do it as a result of knowing it. Um, True good, if it's true knowledge of the good. But I don't know if I can infer a moral burden from that of knowledge of to me, he was more descriptive. Like, this is what is going to happen just naturally from you knowing the good. Not if you know the good, you have a moral obligation to do it. So I'm not quite sure on having people tell me what my moral obligations are around knowledge. So the one about knowing it necessitates moral action.
Well, I guess it goes with those other ones. If you believe that human interference is excessive and worsening, that social, political, and economic policies must change, then you would then have a duty to act. As a
Now, I'll
result
tell
of
you
that.
this, I'm a lot more sympathetic to ecological arguments, like you talked about the wolf population and the effects, because that's very concrete and I can see it, than I am about something as abstract as climate change.
Yeah,
So
that's nonsense.
if
Yeah.
there are larger planetary dangers, tackling them on the ecological scale for me is more persuasive to me in a way where I can actually understand the issues than framing it as climate change.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You know, the those practical problems like I mean, not population, but pollution, right? Like the physical effects of pollution are evident. You know, you don't have to go to climate change to see how
Right?
chemicals might be
Yeah.
harmful to living
Yeah.
things. You know, so just stopping or ameliorating the effects of that, or getting our best scientists on the team to figure out how can we create better, stuff, that's
Yeah.
non-invasive. I
And I
think that
think they are like alternate energy. I think there is a alternative energy industry that's working on. But I think that's the pattern of technology in general. We work with the imperfect technology we have up to now while other people try to develop newer, better technologies to replace it.
Well, it's kind of the issue is that all the technology is part of an interconnected system. So usually what one part needs, like, for example, the system isn't really necessarily driven towards creating, um, exchangeable parts for all the machines, even though that would be more efficient and more ecological, right? It just simply never gets to that because what you have is the rule of experts, and you have over specialization, and you have corporate interests at play, right? So people want to create machines, like for example, Tesla is creating cars where you have to go to the Tesla manufacturers in order to get them fixed, right? Whereas, an automobile, you could take it to any mechanic and they might be able to get the parts. They look at other cars, and mostly the parts from car to car are like similar or exchangeable, right? So then you can create more of a correspondence, right? But see, we have over specialized interests, right? And we have private interests at play. So sometimes those then, take precedence over those very important issues and needs that we all have. You know what I mean, right? You know,
But don't we have like doesn't our current system balance between the two, like private interest and public good, or at least that's the ideal of the system. That's the goal of it.
well, I
And
don't
so
think the goal of the
if one
system.
gets too out of balance, we have ways to correct it politically.
Well, I think you know, this whole notion, that they're trying to find a balance, because what we've ended up with is corporate socialism and private corporations and and non-governmental organizations as international, pseudo governmental organizations. So that is very interesting because you actually have corporate conglomerates, that are more powerful than nation states. So right now we have a sort of uh, corporate pirate international system.
You know, that's like the one issue that unites all sides of the political spectrum. Every one of them thinks that corporations have an outsized influence in government or too much influence in society. The left, the right, the progressive left are the ones that think it the least and still see hope for like some kind of centralized power to control everything. But in general, that's the one issue that all the groups agree on is the power of corporations and big business. It has everybody worried.
Right. Like did you know that the people who put BPA into products, right?
That's
They
that
formed it.
plastic stuff.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, they formed a campaign to get BPA out of baby bottles. The people who put the plastic inside of human products, they themselves formed a campaign to get it out of baby bottles to convince people that they're doing something to solve the problem.
what's the point of putting something in and then paying to try to
That
get
that
it taken out?
it had no significant effects. That's the thing. They didn't have to do much to remove it, is because they just solved a problem. They just told people that they're solving a problem that's not really the issue, instead of the real issue they were looking at.
Did they end up removing it?
Yeah,
The
but it's not a
BPA.
it's not a significant problem.
So it was never a problem to begin with.
Exactly. So it's like the public creates an issue. Corporations find a way to ameliorate their concern, and then they move on. It's just
Well,
right.
I
So,
feel like that's what they're doing with wokeness too. They're creating
oh
issue
yeah,
non-issues that corporations are responding to as though it's a
exactly,
big crisis.
exactly. It's controlled opposition, as they say. It's called controlled opposition.
But then what's the
The-
alternative? Because it seems like corporations feed on that. There's no business in usual where that's not happening. If it wouldn't be happening with wokeness, it'd be happening with something else.
well,
But they're always looking for some new need to satisfy.
I think the first thing is that if everybody who votes said, "Oh no, 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 this voting is nonsense. Let's not go and vote. Let's go and take all our money and give it to local businesses instead of international private corporations." Because your dollar is more important than your vote, clearly.
What if you do both? Like you could vote and still spend locally.
Yeah, maybe, but then you just keep on playing in the game because all of
Here,
the politicians are essentially elected. I mean, they're put there by as representatives of these private corporations. Like Trump was basically bailed out by the banks, and he just gets put there to represent them. In my opinion.
what? Well, you know what? The big barrier for me is the big challenge is to buying locally. Is I can sit here right now while I'm talking to you and pull up Amazon and type in any product that I need, and I can have them bring it to my house probably by tomorrow without even having to get out of my chair. It disincentivizes any kind of local spending if Amazon can outcompete that. Like I remember during COVID, we were all locked down. We had to go out of our way to spend locally because it was Amazon was making everything so convenient. So and
Yeah.
like local food places were running specials and trying to incentivize people to use them instead of grocery deliveries and everything because everybody was trying to stay in business and people were using all of the big centralized chains and delivery services. And so we would go out of our way to like our favorite restaurants a few times a week. We would make sure that we got a meal from them just to keep them supported.
Yeah, the products that are going to be on Amazon are going to be the ones that the AI selects for you, and that's the thing is that uh, you know, um it's going to let you know what you can buy. So that's the thing is that there's a convenience, but it's going against liberty, right? Because essentially you don't get to create or control what kind of products you want, and there it's not up to your community, right? What kind of products they are, right? So, and you don't know how they made them. You don't know who manufactured these products. So what it comes down to is that you'll put convenience in an international corporation, even though it causes all of the problems that I've been talking about,
I
right?
know.
And
They're good though. They're really
instead of having the liberty to be like, hey, well, these are the problems all this corporation is causing. I'm going to support my local businesses, even though it's not as convenient. I'll
yeah.
obtain more liberty and more, better shit for my college. Unless everybody comes to that conclusion in their local communities, there's no,
They're not though.
it's not gonna
They're not.
change. It's not gonna
That's
change
extra
because
work.
yeah,
Um, I'm even I buy your vision, and even me, I know that I'm not going to do it all the time. That I'm too lazy. Like I'm not even going to put in the effort, even though I totally 100% believe in what you're saying. So if I'm not going to
and
do it, I know the
that's the
average
problem,
American is
and
not going
that's
to
the
do it.
problem right there. That's the problem right there is that even though people know what's right, they're not gonna act on their knowledge. It's that
Hmm.
point eight that Arnie Ness was saying is that unless you believe that the knowledge makes you accountable, there's no solution to it. So unless you really follow that eighth principle,
I've
it's not gonna
always been
happen.
skeptical of solutions that involve people acting differently than I know them to act, like doing something more rational or more virtuous or that takes more effort than I
That's the
know
thing
that
is
they
that
generally put into things.
Well, that's the thing is that we've created problems that are that were caused by collective effort, right? It doesn't take one person's individual responsibility to solve them. So then really what it is that the individual has no control.
Do you think if we eat, like, say we did all motivate ourselves to do what you said, and individually we each started buying locally more and
We'll
using
say
Amazon less, would that eventually make a
we'll say
difference?
we'll say everybody decided that it's a deplorable condition, that it's a deplorable condition in human dignity that we have no control over collective change, right? And then they decided to do something about it. Yes, of course. Right.
But it would have to be get to the point where enough people came to that realization and were motivated enough to act on it.
Well, less than 50% of the population vote. So I think it would have to be just a sizable amount. I don't think it would have to be most people. I mean,
Right. Usually, like about a third votes, but lately it's been about two thirds.
yeah,
So it would have
yeah.
to
So
be
if you
like
get
a majority of the two thirds.
yeah, if you get like a portion of those people, then you could start making sizable change. So it's not as hard as most people think it is, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they did the Cuban Revolution and the Bolshevik Revolution with only a few hundred people. So
Hmm.
huge infrastructures, huge countries have been taken down with much less than that. Right? To be honest, that's also what we were talking about is guerrilla warfare. That the tides can turn very quickly. Because of the compulsion to global politics, the politics of the partisan. And the people that are going for international rights. There's all sorts of people that believe in partisan politics, and they'll go maximize that. Even to revolutionary extent. So there's all sorts of people that where the compulsion to global politics is a feature of modern politics in general.
I do think there is a tendency on in some uh, to globalize on the part of some, but I don't think it's. I think eventually, like maybe generations from now, they may get there, and we're seeing the beginnings of that trend. But I still think there's like we haven't gotten there socially yet to live on that scale.
I
So
think
I
there's
think I
almost
think
no.
most people are going to resist that globalization tendency still right now.
Well, there's
We're
almost no
still too
local autonomy,
nationalistic.
right? There's almost no local autonomy, right?
I feel more local autonomy than I do national.
Explain that.
I feel like I can make more change. I can be more effective locally. I feel like the local policies and laws affect me more than the national laws. Like here we have all that DEI crap that's in all the state stuff. That's a state level thing, not a federal thing. And that affects me more than what might be coming out of the federal government in that same area. So local, like even things like tax structures, I pay city, county, state, and federal tax, and they're all structured differently. So uh, local control can target and individualize the larger scale stuff to the needs of that particular community. So I find
But look at
again it
the
like takes it down to that more concrete level.
but if you have a global crisis, right, and if you have a statewide crisis, right, like you have a war going on, right, then those local groups would have almost no autonomy. So it's just in the interim where they allow them to have it. Yes, of course, but I mean in the objective scale of power, they have almost no power. And they have almost no autonomy.
Hey Zach,
Hey, what's up?
what's up? Good morning.
Good morning.
What you up to? Do you have any thoughts on this?
I don't know what you're talking about. I just turned on the computer.
Oh, okay. I think right now we're covering globalization versus
Yeah,
our
globalization, local
current
autonomy,
system.
deep ecology, that sort of thing.
Yeah, but
Guerrilla
even during
warfare.
COVID, I remember we had like a national response here in the U.S., but each state had a different version of that response because Washington State's was very different than my family's back in Louisiana, and then I had friends in other states, and so each state tailored the national response to the state level, and then Seattle itself had like a slightly different version of the response targeted specifically to the city of Seattle because it was the most populous area than some of the other areas of Washington state. And so even with a national response, it can still be. I think the room for implementing it in the most effective way is at the local level. Because where the effects of the policy actually happen are downstream from the national, or the global, the national, the higher level, the upper scale. Even in a corporation, like if a directive comes from upper management of this is what we want done in the company, and then it makes its way through middle management onto my desk, and they tell me it's either going to be more specific than the general directive, or it's going to be something that I can tailor specifically to the needs of whatever I'm working with. So that's why when I say the local for me is where most of the empowerment is for those
Yeah,
reasons.
and that's the thing is that they have the same products in the gas station in New York as they do in California. The reason is
You talking about
because
like
of
the
internet.
potato chips and stuff, or the gas
Yeah,
itself?
yeah. The
Yeah.
same potato chips, the same candy bars, the same Black and Mild cigars, the same stupid shit, and the same fucking and the same gas. And that's because of international trade. Why don't those local communities create something? Right? Like, why don't they have anything? Like they have nothing special. They just wait for stuff, and the people, right, in those local communities, they will produce products for Black and Mild cigars, for Coca-Cola Corporation, for all of those companies, right? They won't have any local products. They won't have any local autonomy over the quality control over the products that they have in their communities. So that is the unfortunate effect of these things. Now, if we understand the effect of these things, then we try to ameliorate the problems, right? I'm all for that.
Maybe it's where I'm from or where I've lived, but I see local products all the time in these convenience stores, like little fruit pies, like Miss Annie's fruit pies that some local
Yeah,
lady
you guys
made,
live in
and
the South, right?
yeah, In fact, in Louisiana, you can get like authentic home cooking soul food, collard greens, jambalaya, red beans, and rice in the convenience stores. They'll have like some black lady that'll come in there for a couple hours in the middle of the day and cook all this soul food and sell it out at these stores.
Yeah,
People
we
go and
have
get
that in
plate
Detroit
lunches
too.
from there all the time.
Yeah, because a lot of these black ladies in Detroit came from Louisiana, so so that's
So
what. So that's
maybe we just need more black women everywhere
yeah, exactly,
and
exactly,
a
and that's the
black
thing
woman
is that
president.
it's those black ladies, it's those Mexican ladies, right? It's the ladies that are literally, like they're like it's people that are responding to the fact that they live in a food desert, right?
Yeah, maybe that's what we need. Like more of those cultures interfacing in these areas where there's a dearth of that. If it's all corporate products, find some culture that puts out unique products and get it inserted into that.
I think we need more little soups for cats.
Little what?
Little soups for cats.
Soups?
Yeah,
Suits? Like
soups.
soups? So
Yeah,
for them to eat?
yeah.
Cat soup?
Now, I like what you're saying though about like more local stuff because there's all these times that I want a certain type of food and you just can't get it anywhere. You have to make it yourself if you want it, and it would be a lot easier if there was a lot more local cooks doing it, like and selling it.
Yeah. And if there's anybody from the South that knows how to cook and you want a good business opportunity and make a killing, come up here to Seattle because there's not a
Yeah.
single person up here that knows how to do Southern food. You would have that market cornered.
Like there's a million sushi restaurants around everywhere, but who needs that? I mean, let's
Oh, you
home.
cut out. You, you roboting a little bit, Zach.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm just saying, like, who needs a million freaking shitty sushi restaurants? Why not just have some good down home cooking that's available?
I don't know.
That's the thing is like,
The
I
market.
played a video one day. It got shut down on my channel, but it was how they're like creating the salmon. They're like growing them in this giant washing machine things, and they're feeding them these pellets of food with this chemicals in them
Hmm.
that nobody even knows what the fuck the chemical is. Like it's some shit and they tested the chemical and like it has all sorts of fucked up effects on like babies. Like if you want to have babies, it's not very good for you.
Who's is it the FDA, the EPA? Who's ultimately the gatekeeper for the quality of this stuff?
I would think the FDA.
Well, it's
They
like
don't
salmon
even allow
farms.
fruit fly.
I
There's
know they
not
let
very healthy ways to have salmon farms, right?
the
It's
what?
just something that's pretty nasty project. I mean, if you want to do it, but it's like they've overfished so much that they have to rely on salmon farms. And if you take a look at one of these things, it's disgusting. It's fucking disgusting. It's
I've
like where
seen
they
the
put a
chicken
water.
farms where they
Oh
just
yeah,
keep
Yeah,
them in this machine. They don't even let them move around.
they're basically stewing in their own shit the whole time too. They're filthy.
yeah,
That's why you can't eat eggs in this country because of the diseases that the chickens will breed by being in their own filth.
yeah.
Meanwhile,
They
you
have
go to
the
Japan, you can eat a raw egg no problem because their chicken farms are clean.
Yeah, a large portion of our medical supplies are going towards that for the antibiotics, and then it creates antibiotic resistance.
Yeah,
In the humans.
and the
And they have
more
roach legs in the peanut butter and rat hairs.
well, in hot dogs they have rat shit.
I'm so glad I don't eat hot dogs.
I love hot dogs, but I try not to think about it.
Yeah, those hot
Hmm.
dogs are made out of parts of the animal that most people would rather not know about. You know what I'm saying?
The lips and asshole.
Yeah,
When you think about it,
Welcome
though,
to.
anything you eat that comes out of a factory is going to have something in it. You know,
I grew up on that shit. Like my body had more of that in it as a kid than probably anything fresh. Like,
and that's
and
probably
so
why
I'm
Gen X.
normalized to that stuff.
That's why Gen X doesn't age because we had all those preservatives and chemicals, and
Might be, maybe.
we drank out the hose, and all those heavy metals that came out of it helped us.
Yeah. Drinking out the hose.
Do you live alone, Jeff?
I have a roommate.
Oh, they never come on camera.
No, he does his own thing, and he works during the day, and
what
then
does he
he's
think of live streaming?
he's watches. There's a lot of YouTubers he follows. I don't know if he streams himself,
Hmm.
but
And tell them to
he
subscribe to
follows a
my.
lot of content creators. He's a
Tell
nerd
them,
like me. He comes home and sits in front of the computer and like
yeah.
plays his video games or talks with his friends.
Tell them to subscribe to my channel. I need one more subscriber to hit 170.
Hey, let's to hit what? What are you at?
170. Well, 169 at this point.
Okay. Well, no, you're at
Do you
170 now.
Oh, I
Here,
do
am.
you go
everybody.
live, Zatoichi? Do you go live?
Yeah,
Yeah,
once.
I see him live all the time.
Yeah, I
You were
feel like
live
I've
today,
never.
this
I
morning.
feel like
Or
they're
were you
shadow banning
restreaming?
you because I don't see you on there. When
No, I was restreaming this morning, but sometimes I go live. Like when I bring people to the doctor and whatnot, I'll just sit in the car and do a stream.
Yeah. I see a lot
Yeah,
of your
because I'm
in the
already
car
subscribed to
streams.
you, but I haven't called you up yet.
Okay, this is why you need to go subscribe to Zat's channel. Hang on, let me.
Thank you.
What? Um. Okay, here we go.
Oh no, not that one.
Do you have that? Is that yours?
He said not that
No
one.
way. Oh, he's gonna get so jealous. Don't look. Don't look. I'm not gonna replace you, my baby. Don't worry. But you might get a brother.
No, I got that at CVS one day. I was
Are
at
you kidding?
CVS.
CVS is selling glow in the dark Satan toys.
Yeah, yeah. I was walking through and I saw it and I was all stoned and I was like, so I picked it up and then I realized it made noise. I hit the button and it started screaming. So I'm like, fuck it. So I just stood there for like a good, I don't know, like 10 minutes just doing that and nobody said a word to me. And then I just bought it. I mean, people must have been thinking, who the fuck is screaming over there? Like in the other aisle. There was nobody in the aisle I was in, so I just kept doing it.
Oh my god, I love that story so much.
They even have another one. It looks like a cat skeleton, and it does the same thing with the yelling and the eyes and everything.
Does it meow?
No, I don't think so. I don't even know where it's from or what, but
I wonder if it's a local product.
yeah, right. It's locally sourced.
And there's some local Satanists that are.
Is that why all the cats are going missing?
I don't know. Are they going missing?
No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Yeah, they got a bunch of cat skeleton things online here. Hmm. I went to this bar in New York City years ago. It was called Jekyll and Hyde's, and it was the craziest place, man. You would go in there, and they had skeletons of like weird animals and things everywhere in like glass cases. They had these bugs on the wall that were real bugs, but they were fucking gigantic. They had like a foot and a half wingspan, and when you would go to find the bathroom, you would walk down this long hallway, and it was just books on either side, like bookshelves, and you would have to press along the wall to find the bathroom.
Are you
And
serious?
then,
What if you have to?
yeah, it was a secret door. You would push on the section, and that would let you into the men's room, and the other side was the ladies' room. And then they had bar stools where you're sitting on the bar stools, and you're both sitting at the same height. And then 45 minutes later, one guy is up here and the other guy's down here because the bar stools were on hydraulics, and they would slowly move up and down while you're sitting on them, and you wouldn't notice it until like way later. I don't know if that place is still there, but it was cool.
I I don't know how wise that is to have drunk people moving up and down on stools like this, and then have to find the right book before they could pee or do whatever. Did they have like a big mop outside the
No,
hall if in
no,
case they
they had
couldn't
a.
find the book in time?
I think there was like a guy watching it,
Oh,
like, and everybody
that's the
knew the drill, because I didn't know what to do at first, but then I just watched other people, and
what was it called? Jekyll and Hyde's. I can see
yeah,
why.
yeah, I was bitching because it was $5 a beer in New York City, and that was like way too much. Now it's $6 a beer where I live.
The world famous Jekyll and Hyde Club.
It's still there.
Let's see if this is it. If it's the same. They do have skeletons. Um, they don't have a gallery though where I could get a good look. Let me.
I didn't know they served food. We just went there to get drunk. They don't have any pictures?
Um, not any good ones on their website, but I could pull up Google. Let's see.
Yeah, it was a really neat place, though. I'd like to go back someday, but shit, I don't even know where we were. I was with other people, and we went to go see some band, and then we got loaded before we went to the band, so we were just walking around everywhere.
Uh, Well, what? Anything else going on today?
Nope.
Somebody must be streaming now. Let me see who's streaming. No, not really. Moose is on, but I think it's other people just using his channel.
Mm.
Maybe they're all. I don't know. I don't know where the people are.
Yeah, they're working,
Uh, this crowd.
right? Yeah, I gotta get a job soon, man, but I'm so limited because of certain factors like my hip, you know. So I got to come up with a workout.
How do you find your jobs?
I don't. They usually find me.
Oh, God, I wish I had that.
No, it's just like I fall into something, but it's like now I have to look for it. I don't even. I'm so far behind now. I don't even know how to like edit my resume because I don't have the right software for it, and it's a PDF. It's like I'm falling out of the loop.
I think you can convert those to. I think Google Docs. I
Uh,
think I've opened PDF in Google Docs.
some PDF files require a certain Adobe version to edit them, and it's like I don't know.
Can you open your resume at all?
I haven't even tried in 3 years.
Because if you can just copy it into another format, you could transfer it to
Yeah, I'll have
like
to.
Google Docs or something.
I'll have to get on it anyway because I need to update it. I didn't even put.
There's online resume builders you can use too, where you just enter your information into their website and then they compile it
Yeah,
all for you into a resume format, and you
yeah,
just copy it from them too. And AI could put a resume together for you too.
that's a good point. Yeah, I should just make up a fake one and see what happens.
Lie.
Suddenly, I'm the CEO of SpaceX.
I might have to do that too. I'm horrible at it.
Yeah, I don't like
Why do you
doing it.
keep getting fired from all these jobs? Why should we hire you?
Well, I got let go from my last job, and I don't know why, but I think it had a lot to do with like the fact that I took short-term disability, and the fact that my boss just didn't like me. I think it's because I got along with the young kids rather than they hated him. He couldn't get along with them, but they liked me. And then one day, I think the last straw was it was like 10 minutes before quitting time, and I stopped working and I was just sitting at my desk, and I had just taken a couple of rips off of my weed vape pen. So he looked at me, and I think he knew that I was like a little whacked out at that moment. So then I came in on Monday, and they had revoked my ID. And they didn't even tell me I was fired. They just didn't let me in the building.
Don't they have to like officially terminate? I always have to sign something. They give me like a
No,
termination
no, no. They didn't make
letter.
me. Well, here's the thing. They didn't fire me as such. They took me off the contract, as they like to put it. So they gave me another job, but the job was purposely so difficult that they knew I wouldn't be able to handle it, and then that way they'd get rid of me.
So they didn't end your contract. They
Right.
just
They just fucking forced me out.
for because if you were smoking weed, it seems like that alone would have been enough for them to
No,
be
but
able
I
to
was
formally.
I was fucking stoned from the moment I got there to the moment I left, man. Like there was no point where I wasn't high during that job, but I don't know. He just didn't like me.
Yeah, that's
One
usually
day
what
he's
it
yelling
is.
at me because he says, "Oh, you're not moving fast enough over in that room." He's like, "What the hell? You used to work in that room. You know how it is, and nothing's changed." And then the guy I work with says, "What are you talking about? Everything's changed. It's like it's a totally different procedure now than when he was in that room." So I said to the guy, I go, "You know what? Because I had just had it. They never gave me raises. They was treating me like shit." I said, "You know what?" I go, "If I'm not working fast enough, then just fucking get rid of me. Do what you got to do, you know?"
I
And
would
he
have done the
didn't
same
like that.
thing.
He didn't
Yeah.
like that. So
You were an independent contractor?
no, I worked for the company, but
Oh.
I was contracting for the company I worked for was contracted for another company.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Axis, pretty much. There's a lot of that, which was it hate the game, don't hate the player, hate the game. But then people also choose how much they want to play the game.
Yeah, Axis is a deep thinker, for
Yeah,
sure. You know.
I
Yeah,
like our conversations. And actually,
yeah,
you can come
Axis
up if you want.
and Dominique Tersini, some deep
Yeah.
thinkers for sure. I meant to catch up with them one day, have a conversation with them. I'm sure it would have been very, very pleasurable because they know some deep shit. Looking at their channels, looking at the information they talk about, just on a panel. Most panelists are just chitter chatters. But these cats come up with like fucking these crazy one liners. I mean, you got to respect it.
And hey, Paul and Neutral Ground. Yeah. We're just hanging out talking about politics, globalization, corporations, deep ecology. Machine's going live later, and he's going to do a stream on deep ecology.
Yeah, and I just got a message from Pill Eater. It's about to go
He'll be there.
down. He said,
Y'all,
he said, he said, you should also talk about dark ecology. So now we're really getting cooking. It's gonna be not only one issue, it's gonna be also Pill Eater's arcane philosophy about dark ecology.
echonosis, a weird form of knowing that involves loops, paradoxes, and tricksters.
Read the Dade Ching.
What about trigonosis?
Trigonosis. I made my
That's a
own
good one.
organization, SNIGTOW. Sand Ninjas going their own way.
What's it called?
SNIGTOW. Yeah.
Well, you're doing pretty good if you're snicked out. You're surrounded by people.
What do you think? Should I make country fried steak for the first time today?
Like first time in your life.
Yeah,
Yo, Zatoichi, one of the things you should do is you should like make a video where you cook this new shit that you make because you're always cooking new shit. You
that's
could
what
make a
people
video
tell me.
how to make it. Yeah, exactly.
Are you talking about the actual steak and you're gonna beat
What
it
is
and batter it and fry, or is it like a
yeah.
frozen patty that you
No, no, you get cube steak and
cube
you dip
steak?
it in the batter and all that.
Yeah.
And you double dip it and then you fry it up and make the
And you doing
gravy.
the white gravy?
Yeah.
That sounds good. Yeah, I think you should make it. I think you should find some way to get some of it over here to me too.
You're only exactly, all the way across the country, so it should be no problem.
Well, Amazon will get there, or some drone delivery. I have faith, or 3D replication or something.
Yeah, yeah, we'll do the 3D printer. I'll just send the info
But
over after.
eventually, we'll be sharing food remotely.
Yeah, I got two meals that I can make extremely well, and if I don't have any food, I'll make this meal extremely well. And just some bread, and I'll make some lentil soup with some
Mm.
mushrooms in it. And I'll put the mushrooms in the lentil soup, and I'll put tons of spice. I'll put like Cajun spice and all this other spices in the lentil soup, and onions and stuff in it, and garlic in it,
I like that.
and
I
and then
love
I'll
lentil
make
soup.
sage tea, black tea with sage in it and honey and ginger,
Mm,
and I'll just eat the lentil soup with the bread and drink the sage tea, and I'll be fucking feel perfectly fine for anything. I'll feel
mm.
prepared for anything.
I like the sausage that has the sage in it. What do they call that? Jimmy Dean. You buy the sage sausage and you make the white gravy with the sausage in it. For like biscuits and gravy.
Oh yeah,
And,
love that stuff.
I like barley too, but not a lot of people like it for some reason, and I
Like
don't
what?
see why.
Barley?
Yeah, like barley soup.
Yeah, it's okay. I like it.
To me, it seems like almost like a pasta, you know?
All right, we're gonna have Mr. Paul Morrison joining us.
Hey guys,
Hey,
Hello.
welcome.
how you all doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Good. Yeah, I'm okay. I've had just a bit of a rubbish week, but things
Oh,
can only get better.
what happened?
Just some personal stuff. I had to do something.
Okay.
I
You doing
don't
okay
talk.
now?
Yeah. I am. It's just one of those things that's got to be done.
Do you have anything to say about cooking or sausages? Whatever you want to talk about, really.
Okay, sausages make toad in a hole. It's quite easy to do,
We don't have that here.
but you
What?
can
Toad
We
make
in a
it.
have
hole?
pigs in the blanket.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it
we had
is.
an interesting discussion on our show last time about Schrodinger's glory hole. So yeah, okay.
I don't even want to
It is
know.
definitely not that. No, it's a British dish with sausages.
What about egg in the basket?
No, but what we do here is we make a Yorkshire pudding batter.
What is all that? We don't have that here.
You got popovers.
What's
Yeah,
the popo? Pop tarts?
pop over. It's like a biscuit, kind of like a you put butter on them. And,
I thought we ate weird food. Let's see, pop over.
no, you never heard of egg in the basket?
I've
No,
never
no.
seen a pop over.
That's where you cut the hole in the bread and you put the egg in the middle.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that. I've noticed there's something else though. I'm pretty sure. I've never eaten it myself. I don't like eggs.
Oh,
Yeah, but that's what it's told in holes. If you make a Yorkshire pudding batter and you put the sausages in there and cook it off, and you serve that with mashed potato and gravy.
that sounds like a nice English breakfast.
No. We have that for a meal, mate. That's not a
Really?
breakfast.
I would eat
Yeah.
that for breakfast.
No, we have that for a meal. It fills you up for the rest of the day.
That's why you should have it for breakfast.
God, no. They don't have that for breakfast. You should have a sausage sandwich or bacon and sausage sandwich.
One thing you have that we don't have here is curry places.
Yes, we have lots of curry places. Yeah.
And kebabs, right?
Yeah, we have kebabs, lots of kebab places and lots of curry places.
We don't have any of that here.
No?
No curry whatsoever. People hate curry in this country. And,
Yeah, you get some kebabs from a Turkish or Persian restaurant. Man, they make the
Yeah.
best. They make the best motherfucking ones, for real.
We get Turkish, Persian, and German kebabs over here.
And even even the Iraqi ones. You guys ever have Iraqi kebab?
No.
Oh man, because I'm from Dearborn, we got a bunch of Iraqi and Lebanese people here. Those are two main races of Arabs that live here. And
Okay,
yeah,
so
they got some expert food here.
it'd be a lot more like a shawarma or something.
Yeah, shawarma is Lebanese. Yeah.
But the Brazilians do the same thing, don't they? Where they have like a big thing of meat and they cut off of it and they give it
Yeah,
to you.
have you been to a Brazilian restaurant?
I've never been, but I've heard of them.
So what happens is, I went to one in Manchester. So you have an all-you-can-eat buffet. Then you sit down. You got a sit-down table. So you got an all-you-eat buffet, like full of salads and other little hot sides and stuff like that. And they give you two cards. I think one's red and one is green. If you don't want any more meat, you put your red card up, and if you want more meat, you put your green card up. And they come around with meat on this sword, and they cut it off onto your plate for you.
Hmm.
You can eat as much as you can.
I would like that.
And you get like sausages, pork, beef, and lamb and stuff like that.
That's a lot of meat.
Oh yeah, it is good though. I think I spent about £30 on the plate, and that's how much it is. But you can all help yourself to the buffet, and when they come round, you hold up your green green card if you want more meat, and they come round and they just carve it onto your plate there and then.
I went to a all-you-can-eat sushi restaurant, and I thought to myself, "Well, I'm really hungry. I'm going to eat them. You know, I'm going to get my money's worth out of this." And
Yeah.
I went in, and I was full within like 10 minutes. I had to leave because all the rice just adds up in your stomach.
It does. I do like a good plate of sushi myself.
You
I
you
do
got
like. Yeah, I do. Yeah, there's a place around there you can buy a nice dish of sushi, and it's all like salmon sushi, and it's like 15, £16 for 12 or 15 bits.
yeah.
So that's quite cool.
Yeah, shout out to In a Thought Experiment.
His name keeps coming up.
Yeah, that's a very smart character. You know, you go to his channel, In a Thought Experiment, you'll see breakdowns
I'm,
of Philip K. Dick and all sorts of things. You know,
I think I'm subscribed to him. Welcome,
he's a highly
thought
intelligent.
experiment.
Yeah, he's one of the most intelligent channels I've seen on YouTube.
Oh well, you should come up and talk.
Yeah, I
I
think he
don't know
just
if you've
talks on his
seen
own channel.
I don't
He
know if
likes,
you've seen this movie, but have you ever seen A Scanner Darkly? It was based on a Philip K.
Yeah,
Dick.
the
yeah, he talks
Philip
about
K.
that.
Dick.
Yeah, that's what he talks about on his channel. Yeah,
I
yeah,
like
I've seen that
that
movie. Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about Richard Linklater. Yeah, yeah. Me and Jeff are huge fans of Richard Linklater. We've talked about that earlier. Yep.
Yeah. In fact, I've
So
been meaning to watch Waking Life
Yeah,
again.
Waking Life is one of the greatest. Yeah.
what was the one that Philip K. Dick wrote, and they made a movie about it, where I think he was in contact with some alien intelligence, and I don't know, it was being transmitted to him, something message or whatever was being transmitted to the guy.
Yeah, this is something Chris would know.
It's not one of the more popular ones, but I can't think of it. I saw a movie that it was based on, you know.
I wouldn't know.
I forget the name. It was some strange name.
Yeah, he just said he's currently reading that live.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So was that the topic of the day? Sausages.
No, that was the appetizer.
Okay.
I'm trying to find this movie. Is it Blade Runner, Total Recall,
Well, essentially,
Minority
Jeff was
Report?
talking about good faith versus bad faith, debating tactics, and then we launched into whole. And then he asked me what I was doing on my show, so I started telling him about deep ecology, the principles of deep ecology by Arnie Ness.
Okay, I wouldn't know nothing about that subject. Not
Yeah,
something
it's
I
like
would.
it's like
Join
smarty
Machine
pants
today,
stuff. Yeah.
and you can learn all about it. He and Pill Eater are going to talk about. And then there's dark ecology.
What's
Yeah,
dark?
now that
Yeah.
I'm more in the dark about, so to speak. But yeah, you know, it has to do with Hegel and Slavoj Zizek and their aesthetic, considerations for love of nature as a primal instinct in man. So yeah,
Okay. I wouldn't know nothing about that neither.
yeah,
they,
like
they don't
basically
have
like
nature.
our idea for, because see, these guys were romanticists, you know, so romanticists were anti-enlightenment. See, enlightenment went like full science and humanism, whereas the romanticists were kind of like, well, let's idealize nature, you know,
Neither one. Neither one is technically correct. Romanticism is my thing. That's where my Satanism comes from.
so what do you
Um,
say?
it wasn't the enlight. They what did you say? They were against. They were not against the Enlightenment. The Enlightenment left out or didn't address things that were very important to them and values that they saw as fundamentally human. So
Well, I think
they saw the limitations of the Enlightenment. They weren't but they weren't
yeah, but
necessarily against the Enlightenment. They were against the excesses of it or the potential tyranny of it.
right, but I think you're missing Rousseau, right? So like,
Well, I'm familiar with Rousseau, but he's not part of British Romanticism. Not the kind I study.
Well, I'm not just talking about British romanticism. I'm talking about the whole shebang bang. You know?
And then the nature thing, they weren't. It wasn't about idolizing or worshiping nature. It was about bringing nature into line with the human and humanizing nature in the process. So it was this dialectic between the human mind and nature, because the human mind was something other than nature that had to reconcile or come to terms with nature, but also saw itself as something more than or greater than nature. So it was
Well, I
definitely
agree.
not
I agree
about
with everything.
submitting to and worshiping nature.
Well, I agree with everything you just said. So to understand your restylizing of what I said, you're saying that the Enlightenment philosophers were about humanism, right? Then the Romanticists were trying to humanize nature and then respond to the Enlightenment values. So they're trying to turn against the values a little bit, right?
Not necessarily turn against, but re-perspectivize them and expand
In
them and
light of nature,
include.
in light of nature, right?
No, in light of their own, in light of human nature, their own. We're talking about William Blake, Wordsworth, Shelley, is it German idealism they drew
Yeah,
from?
yeah.
It's this
See,
like heightening of human nature.
yeah, yeah, I agree with all of that, but I think it more has to do with um, will instead of reason, and also freedom in nature as opposed to so I would bring in Rousseau as a pivotal thinker in that whole thing, because so I think you're missing that
And
a lot,
for me, he's a minor one in the
yeah, no,
tradition I'm drawing
no.
from.
Rousseau's huge. No, Rousseau influenced Kant and Hegel. You know, so
Right, but the
so that's
tradition I'm
huge.
talking
So
about
that's
of
huge.
British Romanticism didn't draw as much on that as what I'm
Yeah,
talking
but
about. So
you can't
I
just
think we're
yeah,
talking
but
about two different
British
strains.
Romanticism did not exist in a vacuum. I mean, right? It's dealing with all these. It's dealing with French and German ideas, right?
Right, but it wasn't just one thing. It wasn't even called Romanticism
Like
till
for
like as
example, Rousseau is going over there to England and he's talking to Hume. And also Kant is reading Locke and all of that type of stuff. So they know about all of these works. They're not like in the dark about these works.
yeah, I didn't say that.
Yeah. So I mean, granted that Rousseau's a huge figure. He's a pivotal figure. All right.
It depends on for who. Like for the people I'm talking about, he was not as pivotal for than the people you're talking about. He was
No,
probably
no,
more pivotal
he's
for
huge for
Kant than he
everybody you
was for
mentioned.
William
No,
Blake.
he's huge for Blake and for Hegel.
Well, I rely on my I trust my experience with William Blake a lot, so I'm good
Right,
there.
right, right. But what's interesting in William Blake, as opposed to somebody like Henry David Thoreau,
Is what?
is like the obvious, anarchism. Right? Of somebody like Henry David Thoreau. He's like anti-technology. He's like going into
To
nature.
me,
He's like
Blake
building
is
a.
way more anarchist. He was part of a radical leftist Protestant tradition. He wrote
But yeah,
about
but
revolution
yeah,
and overthrow of
yeah, but
tyranny.
what tradition? Yeah, but what tradition was Thoreau a part of? He was like reading the Gita and going and living in a cabin.
Thoreau was part
It's
of
not a tradition.
Emerson's tradition.
Yeah, but
Emerson,
that's what that's exactly what I mean. He was part of a much more radical
which
tradition.
is American Romanticism, or some people call it
Yes,
Transcendentalism, but it's
yes,
Emerson's importation of Romanticism to America and his
yeah, and
reformulation of it
it's
for
way
American
more radical and
values.
way more idealizing nature, right?
Yeah,
So, yeah, so I'm saying like you have to take all the ideas together.
yeah, yeah. I know that. I know how to take. I'm not sure how that applies to what we're talking about. Like where I'm not taking that together. I don't know
Well,
why this is coming up. I know how to think and follow ideas.
no, yeah, no, yeah, because Blake isn't the only romanticist. It's also Thoreau and Rousseau and all these guys, right? So
Yeah, I never
all I'm
made
saying.
any of those claims at all. I was just saying you framed it one way and I reframed it in the light of what I know romanticism to be, which really it's a shift from the mechanistic kind of paradigm of the Enlightenment to the organic paradigm.
Right, right. It's a return to nature. That's all I styled it as. So
It,
that's
it's
right.
not a return to nature though. It's a going beyond nature.
Well, it depends on who you ask. If you ask Rousseau and if
I'm
you ask
asking William Blake,
Thoreau,
William
well, I'm
Wordsworth,
asking
Samuel
Rousseau and
Taylor
Thoreau.
Coleridge, Percy Shelley, and John Keats and Lord Byron. And then you had writers like William
Right, they're
Hazlitt. You had the
Promethean.
German idealist, the tradition of British
Right.
Romanticism.
You're going to Prometheans and occultists, and I'm going to people who are philosophers
I'm
and
going
thinkers.
to British poets and the tradition of Shakespeare, Milton, and down to our present day. The British poetic tradition, the poetic tradition of our language, English, the predominant tradition
Would
of that language.
would
None of
Shakespeare
this is
be part of
esoteric or occult or anything.
would
Well,
Shakespeare be part of the Romanticism?
Blake and those guys
I,
are overtly occult writers,
I'm
right?
sorry.
And
Go
so
ahead.
is Shelley. Right? They're overtly occult. But yeah.
So
What were you saying, Paul?
would Shakespeare be part of the Romanticism movement? I don't think he is.
Who?
Shakespeare. Shakespeare
No, I'm
would
talking
be.
about the tradition of British poetry. Romanticism is in that tradition. They all drew
Yeah, I
on
mean,
Shakespeare. They all drew on Milton. The figure of Satan comes straight out of Milton.
yeah, Shakespeare would be
Edmund
more about
Spenser.
Shakespeare would be more of a wordsmith, or more of the plays, wouldn't he?
Shakespeare established the tradition, the modern English tradition, and like so,
Modern,
every writer writing in English after Shakespeare was in the Shakespearean tradition from that point forward.
he
You can
helped to
compare
make.
their work and see the parallels and everything they took from Shakespeare from that point forward. So I thought it was just like known fact that Shakespeare was the British tradition of literature after Shakespeare. If
English.
that's in dispute, I have nowhere to go with this argument.
Yeah,
Well,
English.
see,
I don't know
it's
what
the
other
American.
author would have established the British literary tradition other than Shakespeare. Outside
Well,
of
no,
Shakespeare,
the
I can't
British
imagine another
tradition,
author that would
the
take
British
that
tradition
role.
gets totally eclipsed by the American and the French and the German traditions.
Well, the
Everybody's
American is kind of an extension of the British, and the German fed into the British. Some people even call it the Anglo-Saxon tradition.
Well, I mean, in
everybody's
the
getting
1800s,
confused.
the Americans are coming up with things like pragmatism, right? And
Okay.
the British are not, right?
No,
Right, because
everybody's
there's an
getting confused.
American, once it hits America, there's an American tradition from that point forward. I'm talking
Everybody's
about the
getting
British
confused.
tradition. That's why I said the authors I named were British. And then you
Everybody's
extend
getting
it to Emerson and Thoreau. But I
every,
think we're losing our larger point because you brought up Romanticism originally to make a point about dark ecology or deep ecology.
Yeah, because of Hegel, because Hegel's a primary figure in that. So if you don't understand that how Rousseau influenced Kant and Kant influenced Hegel, then you're lost.
I'm not lost. I was asking
No, I'm not.
you
I'm not. I'm
about
not
dark
talking about. I'm not
ecology.
talking
I'm
about you,
lost
Jeff. I'm
about
just.
dark ecology because I don't
No,
know
hold
anything
on. No,
about
hold
it.
on. No, hold on. I think you just misunderstood me. I'm not talking about you personally, my friend. I'm saying
Okay.
that if you're talking to somebody, right, they don't understand how Kant led to Hegel, and Hegel, how Kant himself was influenced by Rousseau's moral philosophy, right? Then they're lost, right? Now that's
They're
not.
lost in
Right.
what context? That's so abstract. What does
Oh
their
my
lost
God,
mean?
they're lost in terms of learning the philosophical underpinnings of their moral philosophy and
Well,
their
how do you
understanding
know
of
what their
nature.
moral philosophy is? Everyone's going to have a different moral philosophy.
Yeah, and who it's influenced by is important.
Right.
Right.
But I don't understand how
So,
that makes them lost if they don't know these particular three. Are you saying
well,
all moral
I'm pretty
philosophy
sure. I'm
after
pretty
them
sure
depend?
if Kant says, Rousseau is the greatest moral philosopher that ever lived, right? And then he makes his categorical imperative based on his moral philosophy, his understanding of moral as an extension of Rousseau's understanding of moral philosophy, right? And then Hegel says basically my whole philosophy is based on Kant's system. Then I think it's clear. Anybody who has education will understand what I'm saying.
I'm trying to understand the lost part. Like, who is lost because of that if for not knowing that? And you said something about the people that have a moral philosophy.
Well, you're talking about Romanticism, right? So one of the primary figures in that is Hegel, right?
Not particularly. Not in my tradition. Not the romanticism
Well,
that
it's
I'm
not
talking
your
about.
tradition. It's not your tradition. It's just a Jewish
Romanticism
tradition.
wasn't even a thing until scholars generations later looked back and started noticing common
Right, right. And
features
I'm
of this
pointing
group,
out,
and
and
then
I'm
they
pointing out
called
what the
it
scholars
romanticism.
said.
So at the
Right, and I'm
time, it
pointing
was
out what some of the most
individual writers and
right,
thinkers.
right.
It
And I'm
wasn't
pointing
even a
out what some of the
category.
most notable scholars like Will Durant have said on the issue, right? That Rousseau is one of the most important figures in the movement, right? So
The most
I
important
don't,
movement.
I don't know where you read what you read, but it's okay. Right?
I
One of the
I don't
most
know how much you know about English literature, but the tradition of British Romanticism, you could look it up on Wikipedia, this is not in dispute, is traditionally considered to be the six authors William Blake, William Wordsworth, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, Percy Shelley, John Keats, and Lord Byron. That's the canon of British Romanticism.
Robert
So when I
Burns.
talk about Romanticism in the English-speaking world, 99% of the people are going to be talking about those six writers.
You're
That's
talking
all
about
I was
British.
saying.
All you're talking about is British Romanticism, and I'm talking
That
about
is the
Romanticism.
that
So
is
you're not having
the
a conversation with me. You're
tradition
just
of
telling me about
in the
British
English
Romanticism.
speaking world
Right,
is
but why are you
romanticism
telling
is
me about
British
British?
romanticism.
But why are you telling me about British Romanticism when I'm talking about Romanticism?
I said that from the beginning that we're talking about two different types. So I don't know why you keep pretending like I'm talking about the one you're talking about. I keep
All
having
right,
to
well,
say everything I'm saying is based on the writers that I just named. If that's not who you're talking about, then we're having different conversations. But
right,
it's
right.
all called
That's what I'm saying. That's
romanticism
what I'm
when you
saying is
look
that
at it, when you study it from later generations.
you're having
None
a
of it was
totally
called
different.
romanticism in the moment. That's
No,
why it's
that's what
better
I
to
was
talk
telling you.
about individual
That's simply,
writers, which was exactly what I was trying to do.
that's simply what I'm telling you is that you're having a totally different conversation. You went on a totally different tangent.
I said that about 20 minutes before you tried to tell it to me. I kept saying that the minute this conversation
You said at the
started.
beginning that this is about British Romanticism. No, you
Yes, I
didn't.
said I said
No,
we are
you didn't.
talking
Jeff.
about different
Jeff,
traditions of romanticism. You can go
Jeff,
back
you
and
didn't
watch
say
the
that at the
stream. I'm
beginning.
not in the mood for this fight. I'm ending this. We're
Okay.
done. We're
All right.
done.
But I just want to point out you didn't say that at the beginning, so I was
You can
confused
go
about what you're
watch the
talking about.
stream, and if I'm wrong, I will correct myself and
Why
apologize.
don't
But
we
I
watch
know
it
what I
right now?
said.
We can go back
I
to the
know.
beginning of the
I'm
conversation.
not sitting here and looking for it on the stream right now. You can go back and watch it. But when the
Okay.
conversation started, and you were going into Hegel and Kant and Rousseau,
See, I
specifically
wasn't talking about
because
British.
you
I wasn't
said that
talking about it.
Rousseau. TML said that Rousseau was a central pivotal figure in Romanticism, and that's why I brought in my tradition, and I said in the tradition of British Romanticism, these are the central figures. We are talking about two different traditions of Romanticism. It's possible he was talking at the same time, it's possible he didn't hear it. I did say when he started to talk about his people, and I recognized they were not my people, that we were talking about two different things. That happens frequently on here, where I try to bound conversations to make sure we're talking about the same thing. DeFreak and I last night tried to have a conversation about Donald Trump, and we were talking about two different realities. So I kept trying to make sure that if we were going to have this conversation, we were starting from the same starting points. And because we were not, I kept trying to delineate the two conversations, and I wasn't doing anything different here. That's how my mind works. So, if that triggered something in people, that's on them. But I'm
I,
just trying to keep the conversation straight.
I
And
will
when I
point.
recognized we weren't talking about the same thing, I was trying to clarify what I was talking about.
Okay, so I will point out you sort of made two mistakes there.
Machine, it's not that I wanted to talk about. I was trying to make clear that we were talking about different things. I was perfectly happy to let you talk about your version, but for some reason, you kept wanting to like get fixated on correcting me about what I was talking about, and that's how the communication broke down. I didn't stop you from talking about what you wanted to talk about. I'm perfectly happy to hear what you have to say about it. I was just making the point that whatever you had to say about it had nothing to do with what I was talking about when I say romanticism. That's all. And I know you're intelligent enough to understand that, so I'm just going to leave that there. All right, Paul, what's up?
Yeah, I was just pointing out you did make sort of two small mistakes there. British romanticism that can be separated into English and Scottish.
The British Romanticism that I studied when I studied the six main figure, and you can look it up on Wikipedia, were the ones I named. So
Mhm.
that's pretty factual. That's like
Yeah.
most scholars would take those six as the core of British Romanticism or
Okay. And
English
you also
Romanticism, English
forgot one.
literature.
You also, yeah, you also forgot one person too.
I didn't come up with the six. Those are just the six that always get studied
No, I'm
in
just,
studies of
yeah, I'm just
Romanticism.
saying
So
the
I didn't
person.
leave anybody out. You could talk to the individual authors of the books that keep including these six consistently.
I'm just Robert Burns is one of the was
Yeah,
considered one
he
of the
does come up
pioneers.
now and then, but he wasn't a central figure. There's other people included in Romanticism. I'm
Oh
just
yeah,
talking about.
I know that.
I'm using those as the six central ones because that's traditional scholarly practice. I'm not doing anything weird. If you talk to an academic about Romanticism, you pull up a Wikipedia article, you watch a YouTube introduction video, those six names are going to be the ones that come up more often than any others.
Oh,
So they're
nice.
kind of the central starting points for discussions about British Romanticism. And the only thing I was even doing, because there was no need to even get into that, was just pointing out that there was more than one tradition of Romanticism. There was a continental version, there was a British version.
Hmm. That's true.
Well, machine, just don't. I just won't have you on my panel anymore. If my emotionality bothers you, I don't want to inflict that on anybody that sees it as a negative or somehow needs to draw attention to it as a point of conversation. So we can just solve that problem right there.
I think it's
Hopefully,
good.
and I say this all the time. I trust that my audience, my viewers, my ghost audience out there, everyone I know that don't even know is watching, can see what just happened and see clearly that all I was trying to do was keep the conversations clear.
Hmm.
So, and I'm confident that that will happen. So as long as that happens, I'm okay.
Okay. So what's the next topic then?
I don't know what's on your what you want to talk about.
I don't know, man. It's up to you. Your panel. You choose.
Uh, I don't know. I guess I don't have one.
Sausages. We can talk about mental health and other things. I suffer from that myself. I used to do a podcast about my own mental health and my own struggles with that.
Oh, you still have it?
Yeah, it's still on my channel. It's about I can't remember how I've done. I've done about up to 5 to 9
Here, I'm
videos.
gonna put Paul's channel there.
Yeah.
So where are you now? Like, how are you now mentally?
Mentally, I'm on really strong antidepressants right now, and I have panic attacks every day. I used to. I started off. The thing was, I have wild heart. Okay, so I started off being made homeless. Then I got myself a place, and I picked myself up. Then I ended up having a major problem with my heart, which I need a major operation for. And I sort of took a breakdown because I've had a lot of problems through my 30s up to my 40s. I had to watch my mum die after we turned off the machine. I was made homeless after that, and just carried on things and moving around and stuff like that. And I ended up going to the shop one day when I was standing at the bus stop. I seen snipers on roofs. I knew they weren't there, but I seen them. And I started seeing demons in drains, so I took a small mini breakdown.
Wow. How long ago was this?
It's about 5 or 6 years ago now. I have still have it. I call it selective agoraphobia. I have sometimes I've got to plan stuff in my mind for 2 or 3 weeks before I do something. I even if I have to go to the shop, sometimes it takes me 2 or 3 days to plan that out. Sometimes, if I'm not on my medication.
Wow. Do you live alone?
Yeah, I live in a shared house. I do a shared house. One time I did. I have tried to. I'm not going to get. So this is not to get you struck, but I've tried to end myself three times.
Like since the 5 years ago?
No, no, no. This is about 12 years ago. I
Oh,
took a
okay.
load of tablets once, drunk a bottle of either whiskey and vodka, and just watched the sun come in or the moon go down, and I woke up. But always said, lucky I know more about cooking than I do about medication because it had no effect on me.
What?
So
And welcome, Walhart. By the way, here's what I want to know. What effect does the Panelverse have on your mental health? Does it is it a positive outlet for your mental health, or does it exacerbate?
sometimes it can exacerbate, but I don't let it bother me, if that makes sense.
Are you able to detach from it when you need to?
Yeah, yeah, I may have detached from it. I realise these people who try to pick on me are thousands of miles away. They're across the pond, so who gives a monkeys on what they think?
Yeah.
Um, do I give a monkeys what people like Mike Cerrone say about me? I'm sorry to bring his name up, but no, again, I don't because he lives thousands of miles away from me. It's things like that. Sometimes you look and think, oh, why did you say that for? Then you realise, well, he lives that way, so don't let it bother you.
Yeah, kind of like a consider the source.
Yeah. Um,
So
What?
I had a phone call, but yeah, Paul, like I have kind of the same kind of problems. Not as bad as that, but I have like depression and anxiety.
Aye, another Brit. Where you from,
Yeah,
man?
Manchester. Yeah.
I lived in Manchester. I
Oh,
used to
yeah.
live in between Manchester and Oldham.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
yeah, but
yeah.
yeah. Yes, when started seeing snipers on roofs and I started hearing voices in my head, I had to sat on a panel of psychiatrists. There were three of them. Then they said, "Oh, everything is okay."
Yeah.
And they just let you like sent you back on your way.
Yeah, yeah, they didn't either, but they gave me like the talking therapy, and I thought that's not going to
What?
help.
What? How? What? How did they address the hallucinations though? That's not everything being okay.
Stronger antidepressants, mate. This is
Oh, they
Britain.
just gave you medicine.
Yeah, I'm on 200 mg of antidepressants.
Wildheart, how are you right now? Like, what helps you, or you have a routine for yourself?
Yeah, I'm kind of good at the moment. It's like up and down, but it's not like things that happen that make me depressed. I think it's like just a chemical thing. Do you know what I mean? Like I'll just get depressed at like random
It's just
times, and I don't know why. Do you
yeah.
know what I mean? I am on antidepressants, but
So it
yeah,
can't be traced to anything external.
no,
It's just kind of
no,
spontaneous, and it just comes in cycles or waves.
yeah, yeah. Just like as far as I can tell, like a random thing. It's not like yeah, but it is.
You could,
But I've had the same thing with like voices, and I've never had. Oh, I have had visual hallucinations, but that was a different thing. But
sorry.
I have had like auditory hallucinations and that
Yeah,
kind of. That's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
it's because I took a breakdown. Because, like I said, in that before I got diagnosed with the heart condition for 12 years, I've had to put up with a lot of family stuff. I had to, like I say, watch my mum pass away. We had to give the doctors permission to turn off the machine as a family.
That's good.
Yeah, and there was just a combination of that and moving around and being made homeless and stuff. I ended up just having a total. My body just broke down and my mind
Hmm.
just broke down, and I started, like I said, they seemed like little dots on the roofs. There was loads of them, just little dots there. And I'm looking, going, I know they're not there, but my mind's telling me they're there.
Yeah,
But part of you knew that it wasn't that, like to question it, that it.
Yeah, Yeah. And like I said, started seeing the demons in the drains. I started made clear away from drains if I went for a walk out. You know, couldn't look into a drain. No, mind you, well, would you look into a drain? But if you look onto the road and see a drain, I'd see something popping out or something, you know?
Yeah. So
And then did the medication correct? Like all it took was the right medication and that part went
Yeah,
away?
yeah, yeah. I still suffer bad from panic attacks, which I
Hmm.
get quite regularly. Massive panic attacks.
Is it spontaneous?
Oh, God, yeah, you don't need nothing.
Yeah. I get those occasionally.
Yeah, they're not good, but
They're scary.
yeah, they are. And you tell people, and people go, it's like you could be on a high one day and you could be down the next. And people say you need to cheer up, and you're thinking, I don't need cheering up. This is not a cheering up moment. This is not telling somebody you can tell a joke and they can be happy. This is how
yeah,
I'm feeling.
yeah.
I
There's
don't know how
nothing.
other people know what I need to be doing or need to be feeling.
Mm.
So, Walhart,
So
when you like when they happen now, when it comes on, you know what to do. You're like, okay, it's this is happening now. I need to do this, this, and this, or you just write it out.
yeah, just kind of ride it out. I know the best things that like people say, like get exercise, go out, but once you're in that kind of state, do you know what I mean? It's very difficult to do. I wouldn't say impossible, but it's very. I just sleep a lot. Do you know what I mean? When that kind of just kind of ride it out. But it's I know that's probably not the best thing to do, and that's not advice for anyone. But
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 yeah,
it's what you do now. It's what gets you through.
yeah.
And does the Panoverse help you, or does it make it like does YouTube have any effect on it?
It, kind of yeah. When I'm in a kind of up mood, then going on YouTube can help. But like when you're in a really really low mood, you just don't want to talk to anyone. You know,
Mm-hmm.
even like friends and family. Do you know what I mean? You
Mm-hmm.
just don't want to interact with anyone. So
How long
no,
do they usually last?
it's not like 3 or 4 days at a time, like the really bad parts. But then, yeah, it's kind of always there. But I was going to ask Paul, are you like bipolar?
no, I haven't been diagnosed with that.
No, just the
Major clinical depression.
yeah, yeah,
And you both have services like it's. I know the system in the UK is different, but you both have get whatever services that they provide for this.
No,
You don't.
no, no. You're supposed to be part of the mental health team. They're supposed to make sure you're the UK, and no, that's non-existent. Especially where I am, I don't know where it is. Don't know how about in Manchester, how what they do in Manchester, because different parts of the country do have different things.
yeah. It is. I mean, there are things, but it's not good. Like I'm on a waiting list to get diagnosed with like autism and ADHD, and they said that could take like up to 3 years.
Yeah, it's the same here. I put myself down on that
Yeah,
list, and it's the same.
yeah. So there are services, but they're not brilliant. They're not
What
good.
do people do in the meet? Are there peer services like other group people going through the same thing that are
Yeah,
getting
they got
together?
down my way. I won't say what it is, but they've got groups. They got a building you can go into, and they do like special things. You can learn play guitar, karate, stuff like that. They give free counselling. What they do is they get students from the university who are doing
Uh,
counselling, and they put them over to where you are, so you can do it through there. And you only have that for like about 6 or 7 weeks till they go away, because then they got some experience.
are there online options?
There is online options, but honestly, there's much use as tits on a goldfish. There really are. They're just not that good. You've got Samaritans, which is a free phone helpline. You can phone up and talk to somebody without
Oh,
thinking. But it is how you feel at the day. If you don't, when you feel really crap and basically shit, you just don't want to phone up somebody and go, "Hello, who are you?" You only phone them up if you're like really, really, really desperate and you're knocking on that door, going into the
Yeah.
other side.
Yeah. Like properly like suicidal.
Yeah,
That's yeah. That's basically what they're there for. Yeah.
but that's what we have here. It's not a really good system, but at
ours
least
is
we
not that
don't.
great either.
Yeah, at least we don't pay like thousands or hundreds of pounds to go into that system.
Yeah. To
It's
be fair,
free.
it is free. Yeah. To be fair. Yeah. I would imagine in America you get the same kind of services, but you have to.
It's a band-aid. They can stabilize you in a crisis and kind of get you set up on some basic recovery track, and that's about it. But most of what happens from there, you're gonna have to find some way to do it yourself or get it from somewhere on your own.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is like over here too for mental health. We have not caught up to some countries in Europe where we are. We're still very much in like stiffer upper lip and just do for this and you can talk it out. But we're crossing over that verge, Joe. But we're still on that verge of the old-fashioned World War Two. Keep the stiff upper lip going,
Yeah.
and keep on
Don't
going
mention
forward. Yeah.
it. Don't talk about it. Yeah.
What are the other countries doing? Like, what's the next evolution of this?
I wouldn't really know. I'm going to have to Google this one. Find out which countries got the best mental health services.
Yeah, I should do that too. I'm interested. I always think that hey Spike, that the solutions. Hey Jamie, um, the solutions for any problem, the solutions for gay rights comes from within the gay movie. It comes from gay people themselves. The solution for men's issues comes from men themselves. For autism, it's going to come from the autism community itself. And I think mental health as well. Whatever ultimate mental health solutions are out there, I think they're going to come from us. We're best positioned to figure out what
Oh,
works and how to
yeah.
help.
I'll put something in the back chat for you to read there, Jeff. This is from one place.
I've actually been to a group thing. That's the band thing. It's
Yeah.
called Andy's Man Club. Oh, you know about it?
Oh, yes, we do. You've got one down my way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing that actually. I need to have a little bit more into that, but I was thinking of doing it. It's only like about 6 or 7 minute walk away from where I am.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a Alcoholics Anonymous. It kind of, I can see it working for some people, but for me, it's just like people in a group, like talking about all the. I can see it working for some people, but like some people could find it more kind of depressing as well. Do you know what I mean?
Intimidating too, because they don't like talking about private stuff in the middle of a group.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can see that. But it's also good to know that you're not in a boat alone. There is people in that boat along
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's been the key for me. Anywhere I've always had people, someone, some person, some other human there to help. Without that, I don't know what I would have gotten through.
Mm. Yeah, I think with me, I just wanted to just close myself off from the world, and I just blocked myself from everything, and I just wanted to stay on the place where I'm staying and just not bother doing anything, and just close myself off.
Yeah.
But if I get panic attacks and I don't go out for weeks after that,
So are yours physical? Like it's where you feel like you're having a heart attack and you're going insane and your
oh no,
chemicals
no, no,
start
mine is
pumping.
just a pure panic attack, and I get really it's like and I just want to run away somewhere, but I can't. So I've got to,
It's like a flight response.
yeah, I've just got to like stay and just let it calm down, let it brush over. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I just takes control. It can be for a matter of minutes, then just suddenly I can breathe again and carry on.
Hmm. And Jamie, if you want to come up, please do. You'd be great in this conversation. All right, hang on. Let me do some moderating here.
But what do you reckon to that thing I posted?
Oh, I'm looking at it now. Hang on one sec.
Yeah, that makes sense actually. Yeah, Sweden is generally best for everything, like societal health and everything. I don't know.
I'm curious about the metrics. All right, Jamie's gonna. I think it's Jamie. Jamie, can you flash or? I don't. Oh, I think I do remember this name. Yeah. All right, you good? All right, Jamie's gonna come
Hello.
on.
Hi,
Hey,
Jamie.
welcome.
How's my audio? Is it good?
Yes, really good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm on my phone. I just got home from a meeting and lunch, and I was listening, and what actually brought me up here was, I believe Paul was talking about the human interaction part, and it's funny because I was just thinking that in the parking lot of the restaurant we were pulling out of as we were having a cigarette after our meal, and how important that is to have those, human relationships and what it does for you, and like how it balances you and how it completes you. And I'm just grateful to have shit like that, that above most other things. The fellowship alone helps me astronomically. Just it's hard to even describe.
It is. It
Yeah.
is hard to describe. You could know, because I've always when I hate it when people you say to people that you suffer from any mental health illness, and they go, "I completely understand." You don't, because everybody suffers different.
Yeah, you don't, because you have your life experience, and your philosophy is subjective to your life experience, and we're all different.
Yeah, it's like when my mum passed away, people go, "Oh, I understand."
Your audio's going out.
Who mine?
Yeah, or
Yeah, there we go,
whoever's
much better.
talking. Let's see.
Yeah, but people talk when my mum passed away, people are saying to me all this stuff, and I'm going, but you don't. How can you understand? Because again, everybody feels different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even with the same, like you're saying, with the same illness, like with depression or anxiety, even if you have the same illness, like you say, everyone experiences it differently. So
Right.
even two people with the same illness, won't know exactly how the other person kind of, understands it and deals with it and that.
That's why I always say I can relate into what you're saying.
Mm.
I never
And
use
that draws up a question.
Okay.
So the question and what he was just saying. Hold on, I gotta read this. Wildheart, what he just said was, different feelings from different symptoms or different variations of the same thing. The same mental disease or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
The question that I would have is, does that mean that the solution varies as much as the symptoms and the intensity, or you know what I'm saying? Like, does that vary?
I would imagine
Like the
so.
solution?
Yeah, I would imagine different solutions will work for different people. I bet.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm not an expert of anything, but I would imagine so. Yeah.
No, I
Yeah,
think
but
you're right. I think that there's a lot of truth in what you just said. I think that's fairly accurate.
for me it was medication. For some other people, it was talking therapy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
And Browns Point,
inclusion
we
and
good.
relation.
TML and I are
Yeah.
good. We do this all the time, and we'll be we're already friends again. So it's not always what it looks like to the audience. This is part of our pattern, but we're good.
I have the
You know
same
what's
relationship
funny?
with my mate, Jeff.
You have the same relationship with who?
My mate. We
Oh,
call each other names and we fight, but we still my mate.
yeah. It's little spurred moments, really. I think is all it is.
You know what's funny, Paul? That statement kind of goes back to what would it be? Everyone's definition of what a happy life would be.
Yeah,
You know, because we all got different goals, we all got different, aspirations. It all varies. So our differentiation or definition rather of success would be totally unique.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Because some
it's
people mostly,
self-determined.
yeah,
Hmm.
most people success in riches. Some of them may success in and what you do with your life. Or, if your job if you're still doing the same job for 30 odd years or something like that.
Yeah, or the people
Right.
in your life.
Yeah.
And does anyone have a happy life? Like most people, it seems to me like
Oh, say you're cutting out a little bit. Well,
also, uh, yeah, it seems most people I talk to they might say they have a happy life, but they could always be happier. Do you know what I mean? So what is a happy life?
wait, I
It,
guess
I
you have
think
to know what makes you
you
happy.
always yeah,
Hmm.
you're always kind of striving for more though. Do you know what I mean?
I think
No,
the only baseline. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say like no one seems to be like satisfied. Do you know,
Right.
they might say they might be happy, but they're not satisfied. They want more. Do you know what I mean? Is anyone ever kind of satisfied with their life?
Right. Right. The satiation of like good feeling. I believe that happiness is a temporary state, and we're lucky to experience it. It's a fleeting thing. It's a very short-lived, fleeting thing of true happiness. And I think that success for me would be defined as the ability to get through those in between times of happiness and the scraping and serviling, against the grain and trying to get to that next happy state. Not necessarily focusing on it, but knowing that you're on your way to happiness again, even though you're going through rough times.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So like on average, it would be happy. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's usually going to be weighted down with a lot of bullshit, but you try and focus on the good things, and you don't really scale it because when you scale it, it's like, oh, well, what the hell? Like my life is not happy most of the time. My life is it's very roller coastery sometimes, and I think you try and average it out and get to the point where it's not like extreme ups or extreme downs, and you try and just live a balance. And sometimes that's possible, and sometimes most of the time it's not. Like life is just gonna life.
Yeah.
Life is what's that thing from Rocky Balboa when he says to his son, it's not how hard you hit, it's how much
How
you
hard
can
you
take.
get hit and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
no, talk about me, but it's actually a good saying.
Yeah.
hell yeah. That's real right there.
Yeah.
That's my definition of success exactly. Like
What is
it's
it?
it's not how hard you
It's not how
it's not
much
how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. And
Yeah,
that goes
resiliency.
back. Right, and that is my version of success: the resiliency to not be stuck in a position of hopelessness or powerlessness.
Yeah.
As long as that you have that, you have success.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
that,
no matter
that
what.
makes sense. And I'm thinking about happiness. I don't even know if I look for happiness, particularly like being joyful and feeling up all day long. That's not necessarily what I think I look for meaning or
Right.
fulfillment or something more
Yeah.
permanent or overarching than just the emotion of joy or
I think
happiness.
happiness falls on you. I mean, you don't look for it. It just happens to be there. You can see,
Yeah,
you can
kind of
watch.
so.
Yeah, you could see something in the news and go, "Oh, that's crap," then you hear something and you go, "Oh, that makes me happy." You're not
Right.
intentionally looking for it; it's there. It happens.
And most of
for
the
you.
time, when and I've noticed this, and this has fucked up a large portion of my life, is when I'm constantly looking for the happiness, I tend to miss the most impactful moments, the happiest memories that I have. I glanced right past them and didn't even realize that they were fucking happening right before my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Like the evaluation later on down the line of that situation is totally different because of the life circumstances and the coming to terms with certain aspects and realizing what actually mattered.
I
Yeah.
think
Yep.
sometimes my happiness was at the end of a glass bottle. Sometimes, and even then,
Ah, yeah,
it didn't make me happy.
yeah, the bottle turns on you.
It does. I used to go through 2 bottles of Jack Daniels in one night sometimes.
Hmm.
How did your body stay alive?
Mate, I've got Scottish and Irish genes.
Oh, okay.
Hell yeah. We pickled ourselves. We embalmed ourselves. Fucking A.
Even one time, I've done this in front of students. I downed a whole bottle of Sambuca in one.
Oh my God. Sambuca, you sick bastard.
Yeah,
Lucky you didn't get fucking diabetes.
yeah.
That's
I used to, like I said, sometimes when I was feeling down, I'd be in the pub from 11 o'clock at morning till 11 o'clock at night,
Hmm.
and I used to drink about 16 to 18 pints.
well,
So you didn't stop feeling down. It just made it bearable, or you were able to
It,
kind of
Right.
after you
distract
drink,
from it.
trust me, after drinking that lot, you don't feel nothing until the
You
morning.
don't feel anything. So it's numb. You just numb the.
Yeah,
it,
just,
it numbs. It kind of numbs the pain, but it doesn't. It doesn't get rid of it. Do you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
got.
yeah.
I
Just numbs it.
just
The pain.
compounds it.
Actually, it makes
Yeah.
it worse because you
It
don't
makes it
Yeah.
feel
worse.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't feel it when you do it. You come home, you're like, la, la, la. So you go for sleep in the bed. When you're in the morning, you from that high, you have that massive crash,
Right.
and you,
And
Physically and mentally.
Alcohol
yeah,
makes me depressed.
yeah.
yeah, alcohol is a depressant. Yeah. So if you suffer from depression and you drink, oh,
You know when you got a real problem is when you and I've met a couple of these alcoholics over the years, like not too many, but a couple. Is when they drink, it has the direct opposite effect on them. They don't become depressed. They become almost in a state of mania. And that's when you deal with alcoholism on that parameter of biology. It's so intense. It's so hard for them to get sober. I feel bad for them
I
because
wasn't,
I don't
yeah,
know how I would react to that.
I wasn't an alcoholic. I just liked to drink, and if I felt in a really shit mood, that would make me want to drink more,
Right.
and I'd carry on drinking. I mean, when my aunt passed away a couple of weeks ago, I went and sank about 20 odd cans.
Oh, I didn't realize it was just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, my aunt passed away a few weeks ago. I went for a funeral. Must have been about a month ago or something, but the funeral was a few weeks ago.
Shit. Sorry for your loss, brother.
Yes,
yeah.
thank you very much, mate. But I just ended up drinking, and I couldn't stop drinking. I knew I was drunk, but I wanted more to drink, and I must have drunk about 20 or 3 cans of beer. And these are not these are not the US size. These are like you consider tall boy size.
Yeah, Doctor Head. That when it has that variance, that variation, it's I don't
Mm.
I don't even know how to fucking think about something like that. As if it was a stimulant and I got energized from it. Holy shit. I mean, I guess in a way, like in the early days when I was younger and I drank, I somewhat experienced that. but to have it like at an older age to actually get energized and charged, holy shit,
Well,
that would be scary.
I've seen it because I used. Sorry, I'll let you go, Wild Heart.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, it's a stimulant while you're on it, but long term, it's a depressant. If you drink long term, it's a
Right.
depressant. While you're actually drinking, it's a stimulant. So yeah,
So
Yeah, an everyday drinker. Yep.
I I s- I used to be help my mate run a pub, so I've seen it from the sober side, seen it from the barman side. I never said that. Hear me? I said my issue. I wasn't. I just wanted a drink, and if I was depressed, I'd drink some more. I wasn't
Yeah,
hooked on
I think
alcohol.
he's asking how is that not alcoholism?
Well,
Oh,
because it he, when it comes to alcoholism, to be an alcoholic, you might have certain character responses or uh, biological responses with alcohol, but at the end of the day, when it comes to alcoholism, it is one of the only things that is a self-diagnosed disease, and there's no getting around that.
yeah. Plus, there's two different kinds of alcoholism. There's like biological, where your body physically needs it, and like a psychological kind of issue where you take like you have it when
Okay.
you're depressed. But yeah, there's
Yeah, it's
just
the phenomenon of craving and the mental obsession that you're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
I
I guess.
experienced both.
Yeah, it's here. I am from the US
I'm
because
not sure where he's
British people and US people see alcohol as different. For me, I'd just be going out on the lash.
on the
It wasn't
lash.
something I was dependent on or nothing. I just wanted to go out and get drunk.
Whereas
Yeah.
America would call that a binge drinker.
Yeah, we do have it here, and it wasn't something I was hooked on. I just like doing it.
Recreational.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, it says right in the, and there's always going to be debate on this topic of alcoholism, and I like to keep it uniquely towards alcoholism. I don't like to talk about drug addiction because so many people have so many different fucking theses on this shit. It just drives you insane. But when it comes to Alcoholics Anonymous, the actual book that was put out, it talks about the mental obsession and the physical allergy that once you have one, you have little control over or no control over how many you actually take in. And when it comes to what Paul was just saying is that he enjoys drinking. That's directly in the book. Alcoholics drink essentially because they like the effect produced by alcohol. And he, if he says he's not an alcoholic, he's not an alcoholic. He can choose to do whatever he wants. When he chooses to bend the knee and say that he's an alcoholic, well, there is one credible source that says if you do these 12 steps, then you will get recovery. If you refine your life and character defects and spiritual maladies and shortcomings and, service work, yada, 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 and down the line, then you will get recovery. But he's not, he's not bound by that because he doesn't have the self-admission and chooses to take another way. And I don't choose to argue that with people at all. Like if you say you're not an alcoholic, I'm not going to call you one.
an
I
alcoholic
I
can say,
understood it like you described too, that it's a compulsion. Like once they start, they have a hard time stopping. And like me, I
Right.
can have a few drinks and stop. I'm done. I have a cutoff point. But with the alcoholic, they don't have the ability to regulate their drinking once they start it.
Right.
"Oh, I regulate my drinking. I really touch this stuff now. I done all this when I was in my early 30s, from my late teens up to my early 30s. I don't need to drink no more. I don't need to go out to have a drink and to get lashed up with my friends. I don't need
Yeah,
to do that. I've
that's kind of
done
how I
that.
am too.
Yeah.
It
That's why
just doesn't
it's a unique
appeal
thing.
anymore.
It
Hmm.
it's like one of the only disease. I believe it's one of two diseases in the whole entire whatever book of diseases that are self admissions that are that the actual process in which you become arrested once you go into remission, that the self admission is the necessary first part of it, and unless you do that, then you don't qualify. And it's because of a lot of things like humility, hitting your bottom, coming to terms with life experience, growing in out of adolescence into adulthood. There's a lot of variances to it. There's a lot of things that go in depth.
Yeah.
It takes a lot.
It's like related, like we're saying, with mental health as well. Like there are different
Right.
kinds of qualities. Yeah.
Yep. Totally agree. Yeah, I try not to hold people in a box. I mean, I do it. I do that. Like every ounce of my being right now is telling me to, 12-step fucking Paul. But at the end of the day, a closed mouth can't be fed. I can only bring him to water. I can't force him to drink. And until he gets to the point where he wants to, I can't do anything.
I really drink now. Alcohol, to me, an alcoholic, somebody who's dependent on alcohol. I'm neither dependent. I just like to do it. And sometimes when I do it, I've got a high tolerance where I can drink a lot compared to some.
Right.
I do not feel the need to go out to the pub, or I do not feel the need to buy a can of beer. I'd rather drink soft drinks like a Diet Coke or something now.
And you oh shit, I forgot what I was gonna say.
What does that word mean? Ubiquitous. I don't know this word. What does that word mean?
Ubiquitous.
Yeah.
Like,
what does it
like
mean, though?
universal are found all across. They show up wherever.
And how do you pronounce it?
Ubiquitous.
Ubiquitous? Okay.
All right, let's see what here is giving feedback about. Okay, well, I didn't think you were coming up anyway, but we'll do our best. So keep trying. I do appreciate your contributions.
Yeah, when I run live streams, sometimes I miss the live chat. It's nothing personal.
Yeah, if you tune into my live chat while I'm building the fucking Millennium Falcon, sorry, but I'm not looking at the chat. I'm looking at my, Lego set that I'm building.
Oh, you're doing Legos at the same time?
Yeah, I didn't show you.
Are you? I see. Like, what is it? Lego Fest or
I'll
something.
show
You're
you.
doing videos, but
Yeah,
when I
Lego
pulled it
Gate.
up, I thought it was you streaming some other guy doing Legos. I didn't know that was you actually doing the Legos because it looked like
that's
it was
me.
the format or something looked like it was a stream of a stream.
Have you seen the new Formula One cars they've brought out now?
Oh yeah, good old fucking the F1.
Yeah.
Or, what is it? The F1 or the McLaren? Yeah, the McLaren.
Yep.
No.
So this is the Millennium Falcon. That's what I'm building. Fucking
So
huge.
how many
I didn't
like
realize it was
days
huge.
or hours of work is that so far?
This is, I believe, 26 hours so far with live streaming. That's the pieces that are left, and then I got C3PO. I'm gonna build.
That must have cost you a shed load of money. A shed load. I've seen how much they are.
So the amount of money that was given was in total. I took 850 in for my subscribers, and I put an extra, I don't know, like $100 in of my own money, and it cost $934.
Because they're selling the Lego Atat over here for at least just under £1,000.
Yep. I'm gonna build, I think, 7 or 10 total big sets, and then I'm gonna do a bunch of, I think they're called mocks. They're the littler sets. I'm gonna build a bunch of those, and I'm gonna build a coffee table with all of them inside of it under glass.
Have you thought doing about stop motion emanation with them?
Wait, real quick, Walhart, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just going to say hello to Christian Carpenter in the side chat. He's a good friend. He's a good building guy. So I just want to say hello.
Oh, okay, Christian. Yeah, he I've seen him hang out here before. Welcome, Christian. Hi.
Have you thought about them?
All right, what were you gonna say, Paul? You were.
Has Jamie thought about doing stop motion emanation with them?
I've heard of it. I'm not real up on what it actually is. Possibly in the future, maybe.
Okay, so basically you just move to do animation. You just get your Lego. Just perhaps just imagine a small Lego man, and just slightly move his leg. You take a picture, then do that, and from a stop motion camera, and you do that, and it films it.
Oh, okay. I get what you're
You know,
saying.
like Wallace and Gromit.
Right.
Yeah, Wallace and Gromit. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, like plasticine.
Here I am.
Move one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like Wallace and Gromit, like plasticine. You just move one little bit, like a leg, one little bit, take a shot. Like move his leg a little. It takes ages. It takes forever, but it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, so here I am. I would definitely say to anybody, doesn't matter if you're, mentally disturbed or if you're perfect condition, walks will do a world of good for you. I'm sorry to hear about your doggo. Losing animals are hard, man. My heart goes out there on that one. Animals are harder to lose than people for me, so I keep you in my prayers, bro. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and losing animals is hard.
I know he's
Yes.
breaking my heart right now.
That's rough.
Yeah.
It's like losing a kid. So Irishman walks out of a pub.
That's the joke. And I got it.
Or is this the Irishman, a rabbi, and a nun walk into a pub? Landlord goes, "What's this? Some type of joke?"
That's right.
a horse walks into a pub. The barman says, "Why the long face?"
A who walks?
A horse walks into a pub. Landlord goes, "Why the long face?"
Oh yeah.
Or the other dad joke: a man walks into a bar, he cries out, "Ouch!"
Dude, that's good progress.
A bird walks into a pub. He says, "Can you have a pint of beer?" He says, "Why the long pause?"
I do know a good one, but it's pretty long. But if you want to hear it, I'll say it.
I want to hear it, but before you tell, I have a question. Are these all British pub like? Is there a legitimate genre of humor called British pub humor, and that's where these jokes come from? Okay, so we're getting the real thing.
Okay, so a man walks into a bar. A man walks into a pub with his mates. He goes up to the bar. He orders like 5 or 6 pints of beer. He goes to the landlord. "You look like a betting man." Landlord goes, "Yeah, sure." And he goes, "Right. Now, I bet you I can stand 10 feet away from the bar, pee in a pint glass, and there'll be none spilt." And landlord goes, "Okay, then. No, I don't want to do that." And the bloke goes, "Look, I bet you 120 quid. And these beers, I'll pay for these beers and bet you 120 quid." And you'd be, landlord goes, "Okay, then." So the bloke goes 10 feet away. He tries to pee into the pint glass. It ends up everywhere. It's all over the bar and everything. He goes to the landlord. "Okay, I've missed. There you go. There's the 120, and there's the money for the beers." He goes, "Okay, then." Then suddenly his mate takes the beers, goes up thing, and suddenly there's this massive laughing. Landlord goes over and goes, "What are you laughing about, mate? You've just lost £120 and you had to pay for those beers." And the guy goes, "Yeah, but I bet my mate's £250 I could stand, piss all over your bar while you stood there laughing."
I don't get that one.
Means he made fucking 4 times the money by betting somebody else that he could piss all over the bar, and he tricked him into it because he thought that he lost $1,000.
Oh.
So what I just showed you guys, that was my dog, Lorenzo. He died about 3 years ago, shortly before I sobered up.
Oh.
And
that's what that was.
That's his corner of the room. Still got his playthings, still got his mat, still got his leash, his blanket, everything.
And his collar.
Oh yeah. Well, he didn't wear a collar. He wore a harness.
Okay. What type of dog
Yeah,
was he?
the miniature Italian Greyhound.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, best dog in the world, man. My boyfriend's dog. I got to deal with him for 10 years, and he died at 14. So I only missed out on 4 years.
Well, at least you had those 10 years, mate.
Oh yeah,
That's
dude, that dog
something.
kept me from calling it quits. I don't know how many times. Seriously, if anything, that dog helped me more than any other human being in the world.
Pets do have that effect on you.
They do a contractual obligation. I have to say this because the Mexican's not here. Kristen, how you doing?
Oh, yeah. She likes bats and paddles.
That's right. Kristen, hot. She's hot to try.
Oh, definitely. She's lovely. I love Kirsten.
Welcome, Kirsten. And we like our freaks here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she's one of the best on here, I think. Yeah, but like I said, animals have that effect, and the animals will pull you in, and
Mm-hmm. Unconditional love.
yeah,
It's like having a baby that never grows up.
exactly.
Yeah, my dad had like 3 pets. They were all boxer dogs, and after one died, it took him like 5 years to get another. You know what I mean? That's
Yep.
how much it affected him.
My mum
Feels
used
like
to
you're
have
cheating.
my mum used to have this cat, and they always used to sleep with me. Always used to go under the covers too, and just sleep on my arm. And sometimes you'd wake up and see this big green eyes just staring at you from like 2 millimeters away.
Scare the shit out of it.
Yeah, but he would come up to you. He would every time I'd come home from work, he would jump on the gate. Then you'll jump on my shoulders, and I have to take him in, and you'll just come up there. I miss that cat.
Yeah, here that's how I am. I lost 2 cats in the last few. My roommate's cats. We had to put one down just before COVID. I don't want another pet the rest of my life after going through those 2 experiences back to back like that. It's
Heartbreaking.
yeah, I can't. I don't even like, and I'm at the age where the death march starts. I've never handled death well or loss, and I. Oof.
Jeez, Jeff. Thanks a lot.
Sorry.
Talk people with mental health.
I was kind
And
of
then talk about
trying to
death
empathize
march.
with here, with here. Right.
Honestly, when it comes to losing an animal, I've never really been one to cry at a funeral or like experience, deep pain at a funeral like everybody else does. But I'm the guy sitting there like, smoking 5 cigarettes, just trying to get the fuck out of there. But when an animal dies, that gets me. That literally sends me into a fucking spiral, and it happens every time. That's why I haven't gone out and got another dog, is because that loss is just, it's like a contract that you're signing. And granted, once you've signed the contract, you're good with it. It's worth it. But before you go into it, you have that thought, that you're eventually going to lose this animal. And it's just, I don't think I'll ever do it again, honestly.
No, I don't blame you. Also, abhorrent is when people abuse animals too. They need to be, and the animals still think they love them.
I know.
I've seen
That
that.
makes me. My body feels sick right now.
Yeah.
Take a hit, Jeff.
Mm.
Hit the ball.
I might go get some more coffee.
Hit the
No,
jug.
I
Hit the
think
ball.
you're right. I think people that abuse animals are. I don't want.
Dude,
I don't
firing
want.
squad.
I don't want them anywhere near my life. Just this visceral disgust
Yeah.
that I have for them. And the people that like hit their kids in the grocery store, beat their children, I feel the same way. There's just it's like a level of cruelty toward the innocent that is just primal, like a primal. resistance to.
No, I get it. I'd say that there's different variances of it, like anything else, but I get what you're saying.
Like they had kids that you would hear about the neighborhood kid that would stick firecrackers into cats' butts and light them and laugh. That's
Yeah, that's the kid that
psychopathic.
you
Like
tell
that's what
going.
a serial killer type person. That what's funny about that? That's just so
Well,
sick.
that's the kid you invite to go ice skating, at the end of season, and you let him walk on the ice first.
Kids can be annoying though, to be fair. In supermarkets when they're screaming, I'm older.
The what?
The temper tantrums if they can't get the chocolate or they want.
Oh, that was
sweet.
me. I seriously did that growing up. When I didn't get the candy bar, I threw myself on the floor in the grocery store and I screamed and I pounded the thing until my mom gave me that candy bar. She was so
Oh, so
embarrassed.
you should have
And
got
it
your ass.
worked. And it
Hey,
worked.
I got
You should have got your ass beat.
Well, she didn't believe in physical discipline. She was not a spanker. So that,
my mum and dad grew up.
No, she should have cracked you. Whack!
My mum and dad grew up at the
Get
wrong end
off
of
that
Glasgow in the inner cities, and they got taught and we got taught.
Oh, I can imagine, yeah. Glasgow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dreaded words you don't like to hear is "wait till your dad gets here about this."
Oh, yeah. Wait till your dad gets home.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
heard
didn't
that.
have one of those. I got the benefits and the drawbacks.
oh, we got the drawbacks. I got hit with a belt, a slipper, or whatever came to
A
hand.
slipper. That
Yeah.
sounds like it would actually hurt. The bottom
Wooden
part.
spoon. My mum's favourite was a wooden spoon.
Was she Irish?
Yeah, half Irish, yeah.
Yeah. I guess that wooden spoon. That's an Irish thing.
Yeah, my mom broke a few spoons on my brother's. I never got the spoon, but I remember having to replace and throw away spoons.
No, we didn't have the spoon. My mum smacked my brother with a hairbrush once and broke the hairbrush on him. What made it worse is he turned around and laughed at her and ran away.
That's why she didn't. That's why she didn't do it on us, because all they did was laugh. It didn't have the effect she was trying to. I remember one time she was on the phone, and they irritated her, so she announced that they were getting a whipping when she got off the phone, and so both of them went and they got magazines and they tried to pad their pants with like little magazines and my brother put like a big thick Sears catalog in there and when she went to whip and it was so obvious and they all started laughing. So it's stuff like that, like the whippings never work because they could always subvert it. You have to have a certain type of personality or gravitas or authoritarianism to pull it off and be taken seriously. Otherwise, the spanking's not going to work. Even when I got paddled by the principal, all we did was laugh. We thought it was the funniest thing that we just got spanked by our principal.
I can remember taking a look at my gran. My gran had Alzheimer's, and she had a shaky hand. And I used to go, I went up there, so as you do, just gentle ribbing. Next thing you know, she slapped me and it was faster than George Foreman, you know?
Yeah.
Jesus, this little Scottish woman just slapped me right across the face. I'm like, what the fuck happened?
It's like I ain't as fucking nimble as you thought, motherfucker.
I never done it again.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Those shock you every once. They just play possum. Those old ladies from that era, they play possum until they really want to fuck you up.
Oh yeah, I never underestimate old people.
Yeah, back in her day, she used to be able to jump an old-fashioned bar with one hand. She used to be a barmaid in a pub, and she used to jump the bar. And the one copper used to come in half drunk, off duty. He's come in order a pint. He took the mick out of her one day, so she knocked him out with his own truncheon.
Nice. That's classy. I like that.
She was a hard woman, and she also had to be hard because she had 5 kids to raise up by herself since my granddad left her. So, and the inner city in Glasgow is not a nice place.
Oh fuck, Glasgow. That's
Especially in the 50s to the 60s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're talking. What is that? Beginning of the Cold War? Like
Yeah,
oh
you're
no,
talking
maybe
about
10 years before.
you're talking about the razor cap gangs. You're talking massive gangs there, stabbings.
Dang.
Yeah.
The ice cream wars, which which sounds nice, but it really wasn't. It
These
was
are
about
white
drugs.
people?
Yeah, this is Glasgow, mate.
Yeah, there ain't too many. Yeah, never mind. I'm not gonna say it. But yeah, you are
Yeah.
correct in your assessment.
Yeah, there was Glasgow in the 60s. Tenement house.
Wasn't it like Ireland, like Catholics versus Protestants? A lot of it.
There was that, but this is more areas to
Yeah.
do fighting areas. This you can be a Catholic, but there was lots of religious division as well. A lot of
Yeah, the peace
Protestants
wall
married
wars.
Catholic, yeah,
Mm.
Catholic and married Protestant. You were ostracized sometimes if you were married a Protestant. If you're a Catholic,
Yeah, we
because
think we got it hard here over in the United States. We ain't never had no peace wall wars.
I
We
don't.
ain't never
I
had
think
none
we
of
have it
that.
great here.
Oh, we
I'm
do.
the one like I don't understand all this black pilling. This is the
And-
greatest country
Yeah,
in
this
the
is-
world. Y'all don't know how
Dude,
good
this
we
is
have it.
this is the only place in the world people will risk their life and limb to get to just to have the experience that we have every day naturally.
well, people risk their life and limb to get over here too.
Yeah, you guys got quite the immigrant problem in the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah, we've had 50,000 people land in the past 6 or 7 months.
Oh yeah, everyone's trying to shift. It's weird because it's all happening simultaneously all across the world.
Yeah,
It's really odd. Don't you find that odd that one
What's
thing
going
is
on to
happening
make
everywhere?
it? Because
I don't know.
like, isn't it like in the southern border, it's cartels that are displacing, and in Europe, it's warfare in Syria and other
Well-
areas. So it seems like it's events that are all happening at once in
It's
these areas
events.
that
I
are
mean, if
causing a
you-
displacement.
if you look at Europe, most people come from like either Syria, they got people come from Pakistan, you got people coming from Afghanistan, people coming from Libya, and Albanians. We're having problems with Albanians there is no war happening in Albania.
Well, the Albanians come over here, they fucking take over a lot of the trades. Got a lot of Albanian tradesmen over here.
Mm. And there's a lot of Albanian crime gangs over here now too.
Yeah.
I will say this though, the Albanians do pretty good damn trades work. Like they're pretty good at it. They're not your average scabs. They do pretty damn good work.
We've got the Polish. The Polish do really good work over here.
Oh yeah, they're master bricklayers.
Yeah, master
Yeah.
bricklayers, chefs, anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
And where I live, in my house where I live, we've got Bulgarians. They're brilliant people too.
Yeah.
So
There was
we
one
do
dude I
want, we
worked
want
with.
some of all that. What's the solution then?
Keeping the parameters of the allotment.
Like
Don't
pacing
over-
it more.
Yeah, you're right. Pacing it, scaling it, and make sure you stay within those parameters. Even though it's a humanitarian crisis, you need to have realistic, logical viewpoints
See,
and parameters and limitations.
it's different to the US over here because in Europe they've got freedom of movement. So you can effectively travel from Poland to Spain and not be checked.
Right. And then they can jump over from there, the loophole.
Yeah, and you jump over here, and what they do is they go to smuggling gangs near France or near Calais and that, and they pay like £10,000 to get over the sea. I'm just using that as a guess.
That sounds like a
And-
dark ecology.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, it is. They
Yeah.
they
Human
make
trafficking.
billions. And what they
But
do is
I
they
don't think-
collect them. They move them at night, so they collect them on the beach, the Kent beaches at night time, and they take them to the point and they use them as slaves, so they're worked off their
Oh, yeah.
debt.
But I'm not sure.
While they're trafficking them, while they're helping them immigrate.
Yes, you
Helping
traffic
them.
to a location, and then you work your debt off.
So do the people know ahead of time when they get involved in these operations that that's what these are? Or they think they're legitimately going to be helped
They
to immigrate?
they think
It's
this.
it's not across the board.
Yeah, a lot of them do think they're going to be legitimately helped. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Right.
they think the
They're on
streets,
there, then, yeah.
because we've got
Yeah.
a good social care system. They think the streets are paved with gold over here, and they think there's plenty of stuff over here, and they get lied to, and it's just basically we expected this, and we've got this. Well, that's how we live, mate.
Yeah. If you're illegal at the moment, you're not going to get those benefits.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know what's fucked up is everyone's talking about this humanitarian crisis with people shifting from country to country. Let me tell you something. China's been packing motherfuckers into the United States more than probably any other country in the world over, America's inception, and that's something that's never talked about. You don't hear, Chinamen getting, toted over here in massive droves. Like, it's a real thing,
They
and it's
did
one of
when
the
they were
biggest
building
markets.
the tunnels through the Rockies during the expansion.
Right? Yeah, yeah. The rail
Yeah.
workers.
But is
But
that
that's something that's never talked about, and that boggles my mind that such vast numbers of people are trafficked, and we're not talking like, I hate to say that the cartels are under the Chinese, but in a way, the practices of the Chinese it's pretty fucked up.
yeah, they're not helping the situation, are they?
No,
So
it's
it's the
almost
it's
like
the
it's
criminal
normalized.
underworld in general.
Yeah, we
Yes,
don't. Chinese is not a problem for Britain. The
no?
problem for
The-
Britain is more Albanian crime gangs over here.
right.
yeah, it's like middle European, like say
Mm.
Albania.
And is that also coming through the immigration system? Like, does the UK have the illegal problem that we have, or are all of your immigrants coming through
Oh, they're coming
legitimately through your
legally.
process?
5,000 people in the space of 6 or 7 months crossing the English Channel, which is one of the world's dangerous and busiest channels of water.
Yeah, but that's illegal. It's
Yeah, that's
illegal.
illegal.
But
Not
people are doing. What's going
illegal.
on? What's going on? Yeah, okay, I'm seeing
That's
it
what I'm
now.
saying. That yeah, you see what we're saying? Like
I
it's
knew in
all
Mexico it was the
encompassing.
cartel, so that made sense. But what's going on all over the world at the same time?
It's fucking weird. It's like
It
a
is.
major shift.
It's the same thing. It's like cartels. It's like illegal kind of groups telling these people, give us so much money and we'll ship you over to England and you'll have a great life. It's basically the same thing.
Oh, yep. And there's also
Yeah.
they caught a load of Polish people in this. They had the benefits factory, and what they done, they set this factory up. Well, not really a factory. This centre, and they. Oh God, let me do this. I'll find out. Okay. These people got. I can't remember how much they've done, but it was astronomical.
But I'm not sure the economy does kind of benefit because they will do jobs like even legitimately that English people won't do because they pay. The pay isn't so much.
Okay.
So I don't know how the economy, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing for the economy, because the
Okay.
immigrants do jobs that we don't kind of want to do
I
or want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, Rod. I found it. So these were 5 Bulgarians who set up this centre, or they called it a benefits factory, to commit benefits fraud in England and Wales, because Scotland is a different benefit system. And they took £53.9 million.
So it was
Yeah.
a scam. It's crooks.
They took their benefits. They took government benefits. They
Oh,
took
the immigrants did.
yeah, 53 million pounds worth of government benefits.
But
Through
if they
this
were
factory
illegal,
operation. How
Yeah.
is are there not regulations in place to keep that from happening? That doesn't
Well,
sound like
yeah,
it would be
you'd
legal.
think that, but they used dead people's names, other people's names. People sold them their
So it's
names.
fraud. That's fraud.
Yeah, £53 million worth of fraud.
Did they get prosecuted?
Yes, they did.
Oh, okay. At least that's what I thought you were saying. Like this is ongoing and it's just
No, they
allowed.
got
Oh,
prosecuted,
okay.
but this is the things that we're dealing with.
So it's people. It's people exploiting the system.
Yeah,
It because
yeah.
that's kind of the immigration system here in the southern border too. I think it that's another ecology, and there's people that benefit from having it the way it is now because everybody gets something out of it, and so there's not a lot of political will to alter it too much.
So I put an article on it there, Jet. There was an article in the back chat. If you want to have a look.
Biggest welfare fraud in history.
Yeah. 53 million for 5 people.
Migrants pulled off the biggest welfare fraud in British history, and we're sitting on £750,000 in cash when finally caught. Oh, these were young kids. These were like kids.
Yeah, they
These are little teenagers.
Yeah, they some smart little motherfuckers. They said it's our first case and we're going big.
The gang's aim was simple: to exploit the benefit system on an industrial scale, using it as a cash machine to fund their lavish lives. Wow. Here, I'm going to stick this in the chat.
Yeah, go big. Don't go small for your first run. Go big.
and
I wonder if that
also
would happen in the U.S.
Roma gypsies too. Roma gypsies scam a lot of people.
The non-carnival gypsies. They don't give you good prizes.
They call
just
them
give you losses.
was it Romani now?
Roma.
Romani? Roma?
Roma. They're part, yeah, Roma gypsies.
Yeah, I had a gypsy friend, and she was woke about that word.
Yeah.
We don't call them that anymore.
No, so there were Roma gypsies, and what they do is they go around places like big cities like London, Glasgow, Manchester, and everything, and they're putting gangs, begging gangs. And they've already got like massive houses in Romania, and they've already drive like BMWs and stuff, and they go off begging.
Is it another one of those don't hate the player?
Well, it was when you find out when it is the poorest people that offer the most, not the
The
richest
ones working
people.
it the most.
Yeah, so it'd be the poorer people who see poverty and they think they're going to try to help by giving money. So basically, it's put there when they're calling poor people, then it's not hate the player, it's like hate them, stop what you're fucking doing. Because it's most of the people who can't afford to give anything will give the most away.
It's what I think it is. It's hate the problem, not the person, but hate the enterprise that perpetuate the person's problem.
Yeah, but they know what they're doing, mate.
Yeah, I'm on the
Oh, they
side.
know.
They making choices here.
Yeah.
Well, everyone makes choices. How the law, statistical variance and statistical deviation, it's pretty easy to fucking map these days, considering our cell phones report biometric information on a minute-to-minute basis hundreds of times.
So when I was last in Glasgow for my aunt's funeral, I had some time to spend in the city, so I brought some hot food and some little snacks and a couple of drinks, and I was looking for somebody homeless to give it to, because since I've been there, now I understand what it's like. And I came across this Roma person who was begging, and he looked slightly chunky. And I went, "Nah, you look too well fed for me, mate," and walked away.
You told him that to his face?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. You're too fat, bro. We know you're on
No
capping.
food for
We know you're capping for a free lunch.
Yeah. So I went and seen this other person. He looked homeless, this other person did. So I gave him and had a little chat with him, and he's telling me he was a guitarist, he was married, he was in New York, and suddenly he ended up having addiction problems and moved back to thing. Then he lived in Glasgow, got chucked out, and he ended up on the streets. So just had a little chat with him, gave him the food and drink, but I wasn't going to give that other chunky sod of fucking money or anything.
Well, you did more than I would have done. Any of it. But you felt better.
Oh,
doing it
Jeff,
the
you would have
second
gave him the food. Stop fronting.
No, I don't buy homeless people food.
Why?
Because because I know that there's resources and services out there that do that better than I could. Plus, there's so many of them. Like, how would I pick who's getting the food that day?
Oh, just
Pick
go
the
up.
skinniest
Not to mention, I
motherfucker.
could barely feed myself. Like, I'm one step away from them myself.
Oh, that's true. I get that.
Okay, we understand. Yeah, but the other guy looked, honestly, mate, he was chunky. He was like an old Cartman. And I looked and I went, "No, you're too well fed for me, man," and walked away. It was like,
Hey, freak. Good. I guess it's afternoon now. Good afternoon.
Hey, the
I mean,
freak.
yeah, but I've got a cheat
Thank you,
because
Jeff. I'm gonna have to go, but thank you, Jeff. It's been brilliant. Good to see you, Paul and Jamie.
Oh, nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, it's
Have you
been
got a
great,
name I can
Wildheart.
call you if I
Thanks,
see you
thanks for
again?
coming up, sharing.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good night, bro. I'm actually
Sure,
gonna
mate.
jump. I'm gonna start my live stream for Legos. I'm in the mood to build.
Nice one,
Okay,
mate.
here,
Nice.
I'll put your channel. You can watch Jamie make Legos if you want. Do you like talk and make at the same time? And live
Yeah, if I
stream?
got somebody on panel. If not, I'm gonna turn on some zombie music and yeah.
And
All
just
right,
work
there you
away.
go. There's
Cool.
Jamie's channel. Paul, you have anything going on? Or?
Actually, no, but I will have something going on this week. I'm dropping a video. It's gonna be rather a bit controversial because it's a touchy subject.
Hell
But
yeah.
it's to do about somebody called Mary Turner, and she had a horrific thing done to her, and I'd rather it be said than not said.
Okay.
Mary
Well, let me
Turner. Why
put
do
your
I know
channel.
that name?
Mary Turner was something that she was alive in 1918.
For
And
some reason, I know that story, and I don't know why I know that story.
I
yes,
think, did they make a docu-story about her?
they probably did, but yeah, I haven't seen much of her, and I just thought it's a good subject to do. You know, and it's only a 9-minute video, but the things that happened to her were so horrific,
So
and the
it's not going
people
to be a panel then,
no, and it's going to
just a
be
presentation.
yeah, just a video. I'll be launching the thing. But it's so horrific that we should remember stories like hers and work on being better to ourselves. You know,
Well,
Right.
I'm thankful that it seems like we have. I can't imagine something like that happening
All
in
right,
this kind
guys.
of wide scale to this day.
yeah.
Jeff, thanks for having me. You have a good night,
Jamie,
and
thanks for.
yeah, I'm gonna go build Legos.
Okay, have fun.
Nice
Thanks for
chatting
coming.
to you, Jamie. Look after yourself,
Later.
mate.
Paul,
Ladies,
have a good
Talk to you
one.
later.
we'll do, mate. We'll do.
Take it easy.
Welcome,
Bye.
Exiled. You're just in time to come and watch us wrap up. It's good to see you.
Yes, I'll be dropping that video tomorrow.
Okay, I put Paul's channel so you can give him a like, subscribe. You can look for the video there.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is. I hadn't seen it before because when I watched it, I didn't realize it was him on the video for some reason, and so that was my first look at it. It takes me back to my day when we used to do models and Legos, but nothing on that scale. Very
At
impressive.
our day, we used to try to build houses. It did have all these modern
Like with
shapes.
Lincoln Logs or stuff.
Yeah,
Tinker
like
Toys.
just proper Lego bricks, you know. And you had some
Oh yeah,
certain
that's
type.
all we had. It was a box
Yeah.
of little generic blocks. And you
Yes.
just build whatever structure your mind could come up with.
Yeah, or build planes and try to do fights with planes and stuff.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do stuff like that. But then they had these separate kits. They were like models, and it was like a vehicle or a Star Wars spaceship, or one of them I had was a dinosaur, and you would put the little pieces together, and it had that model glue that would smell real strong, like that super
Oh
glue.
yeah,
And I used to do those too, and those were more delicate.
I used to do the model kits. I used to do the planes, and you get you used to have to buy the paints and all that too. You could
Yeah.
buy the kit for £1.50, something like that. But the rest of the kit, the rest of the stuff you'd have to buy would cost you about £5, including the paints and stuff, and paintbrushes and the glue.
Yeah.
We used to do that when we were younger. That was pretty fun.
Where did all that go? Where's all the fun stuff now? I guess there's people still doing that. They have
There
miniature.
is.
I know there's a lot of people into painting miniatures.
Yep. My dad used to paint miniatures.
Jamie's doing it. Like, I guess I could be doing the same kind of stuff.
My dad used to do Napoleonic war games, and he had miniatures of the one was of a certain corps of Napoleon's army in the Battle of Austerlitz, and you had the cannons, and you had the infantry, and you had all the horses and all that too. You're all hand painted.
Was it a kit, or did he have to collect each piece?
No, you buy them individually. You buy the men. You don't. So you can buy like 20 odd men. 20 odd men will cost you like £15. and you paint them up, and he had like, it must have had over like 300 to 500 odd individual pieces.
Wow.
And they're all hand painted.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to
That's an
knock off it.
art.
Yeah, oh, it certainly was. Well, I'm going to knock off, Jeff. Thank you for having me on.
You too, Paul. Think
Yeah,
it's been great.
yeah, it's been
Very
good,
good
mate. Look
chatting.
after yourself. Thank you very much,
Thanks.
mate. Take
Thanks for
care.
coming up. I appreciated hearing about your story.
Thank you.
All right. I guess that's it for now. What's today? Wednesday? I'll probably be on later tonight. So I hope you do something fun or productive or find happiness, meaning, fulfillment. Do make some Legos, do something out of your childhood, play, go on a hike. I don't know, whatever you're inspired to do. And I'll see you later. I'm gonna go do the same thing. Probably involve being in Discord. All right, I'll catch you the next one. Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care.